Richard Roman III by William Shakespeare. Act IIII London. A street. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this sun of York, and all the clouds that lured upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged War hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting bobbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to caught an amorous looking-glass, I, that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these farewell-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says that G of Edward's heirs the murderer shall be. Dive, thoughts, down to my soul. Here Clarence comes. Brother, good day. What means this armed guard that waits upon your grace? His Majesty, tendering my person's safety, hath appointed this conduct to convey me to the Tower. Alack, my lord, that fault is none of yours. He should, for that, commit your godfathers. Oh, belike his Majesty hath some intent that you shall be new christened in the Tower. But what's the matter, Clarence, may I know? Yea, Richard, when I know, for I protest as yet I do not. But as I can learn, he hearkens after prophecies and dreams, and from the crossrow plucks the letter G, and says a wizard told him that by G his issue disinherited should be, and for my name of George begins with G, it follows in his thought that I am he. These, as I learn, and such like toys as these have moved his highness to commit me now. Why, this it is, when men are ruled by women. 'Tis not the king that sends you to the Tower, my Lady Grey his wife, Clarence, 'tis she that tempers him to this extremity. Was it not she and that good man of worship, Antony Woodville, her brother there, that made him send Lord Hastings to the Tower, from whence this present day he is delivered? We are not safe, Clarence, we are not safe. By heaven, I think there's no man is secure but the Queen's kindred and night-walking heralds that trudge betwixt the king and Mistress Shaw. Heard ye not what an humble suppliant Lord Hastings was to her for his delivery? Humbly complaining to her deity, got my Lord Chamberlain his liberty. I'll tell you what, I think it is our way, if we will keep in favour with the king, to be her men and wear her livery, the jealous Awan widow and herself, since that our brother dubbed them gentlewomen. A mighty gossips in this monarchy. I beseech your graces both to pardon me. His Majesty hath straitly given in charge that no man shall have private conference, of what degree soever, with his brother. Even so, an't please your worship, Brakenbury, you may partake of anything we say. We speak no treason, man. We say the king is wise and virtuous, and his noble queen well struck in years, fair, and not jealous. We say that Shaw's wife hath a pretty foot, a cherry lip, a bonny eye, a passing pleasing tongue, and that the queen's kindred are made gentle folks. How say you, sir? Can you deny all this? Not to do with Mistress Shaw? I tell thee, fellow, he that doth not with her, excepting one, were best he do it secretly. Alone, I beseech your grace to pardon me, and withal forbear your conference with the noble duke. We are the queen's abjects, and must obey. Brother, farewell. I will unto the king, and whatsoever you will employ me in, were it to call King Edward's widow sister, I will perform it to enfranchise you. Meantime, this deep disgrace in brotherhood touches me deeper than you can imagine. Well, your imprisonment shall not be long. I will deliver you, or else lie for you. Meantime, have patience. Go, tread the path that thou shalt ne'er return, simple, plain Clarence. I do love thee so that I will shortly send thy soul to heaven, if heaven will take the present at our hands. But who comes here? The new-delivered Hastings, as much unto my good Lord Chamberlain. Well are you welcome to the open air. How hath your lordship brooked imprisonment? With patience, noble lord, as prisoners must, but I shall live, my lord, to give them thanks that were the cause of my imprisonment. No doubt, and so shall Clarence too, for they that were your enemies are his, and have prevailed as much on him as you. Ma pity that the eagle should be mewed, while kites and buzzards pray at liberty. No news so bad abroad as this at home. The king is sickly, weak, and melancholy, and his physicians fear him mightily. Now, by St. Paul, this news is bad indeed. Oh, he hath kept an evil diet long, and overmuch consumed his royal person. 'Tis very grievous to be thought upon. What, is he in his bed? Go you before, and I will follow you. Exit Hastings. He cannot live, I hope, and must not die till George be packed with post-hoss up to heaven. I'll in, to urge his hatred more to Clarence, with lies well steeled with weighty arguments, and if I fall not in my deep intent, Clarence hath not another day to live. Which done, God take King Edward to his mercy, and leave the world for me to bustle in. For then I'll marry Warwick's youngest daughter. What though I killed her husband and her father? The readiest way to make the wench amends is to become her husband and her father, the which will I, not all so much for love as for another secret close intent, by marrying her which I must reach unto. But yet I run before my hoss to mock it. Clarence still breathes, Edward still lives and reigns. When they are gone, then must I count my gains. Exit, scene room into the same. Another street. Set down your honorable load, if honour may be shrouded in a hearse, whilst I awhile obsequiously lament the untimely fall of virtuous Lancaster. Poor key-cold figure of a holy king, pale ashes of the house of Lancaster, thou bloodless remnant of that royal blood, be it lawful that I invocate thy ghost, to hear the lamentations of poor Anne, wife to thy Edward, to thy slaughtered son, stabbed by the self-same hand that made these wounds. Lo, in these windows that let forth thy life, I paw the helpless balm of my poor eyes. Cursed be the hand that made these fatal holes. Cursed be the heart that had the heart to do it. Cursed the blood that let this blood from hence. Maud direful hap betide that hated wretch, that makes us wretched by the death of thee, than I can wish to adders, spiders, toads, or any creeping venomed thing that lives. If ever he have child, abortive be it, prodigious, and untimely brought to light, whose ugly and unnatural aspect may fright the hopeful mother at the view, and that be heir to his unhappiness? If ever he have wife, let her be made as miserable by the death of him as I am made by my poor Laud and thee. Come, now towards Chertsey with your holy load, taken from Paul's to be interred there. And still, as you are weary of the wait, rest you, whiles I lament King Henry's cause. What black magician conjures up this fiend to stop devoted charitable deeds? Villains, set down the cause, by St. Paul, I'll make a cause of him that disobeys. Unmannered dog, stand thou when I command, advance thy halberd higher than my breast, by St. Paul, I'll strike thee to my foot and spurn upon thee, beggar, for thy boldness. What, do you tremble? Are you all afraid? Alas, I blame you not, for you are mortal, and mortal eyes cannot endure the devil. Avaunt, thou dreadful minister of hell. Thou hadst but power over his mortal body, his soul thou canst not have, therefore be gone. Foul devil, for God's sake, hence and trouble us not, for thou hast made the happy earth thy hell, filled it with cursing cries and deep exclaims. If thou delight to view thy heinous deeds, behold this pattern of thy butcheries. O gentlemen, see, dead Henry's wounds open their congealed mouths and bleed afresh. Blush, blush, thou lump of foul deformity, for 'tis thy presence that exhales this blood from cold and empty veins, where no blood dwells. Thy deed, inhuman and unnatural, provokes this deluge most unnatural. O God, which this blood madest, revenge his death. O earth, which this blood drinkst, revenge his death. Either heaven with lightning strike the murderer dead, or earth, gape open wide and eat him quick, as thou dost swallow up this good king's blood, which his hell-governed arm hath butchered. Lady, you know no rules of charity, which renders good for bad, blessings for curses. Villain, thou know'st no law of God nor man, no beast so fierce but knows some touch of pity. More wonderful when angels are so angry. Vouchsafe, divine perfection of a woman, of these supposed evils to give me leave, by circumstance, but to acquit myself. Vouchsafe, diffused infection of a man, for these known evils, but to give me leave, by circumstance, to curse thy cursed self. Fairer than tongue can name thee, let me have some patient leisure to excuse myself. Fouler than hot can think thee, thou canst make no excuse current but to hang thyself. And by despairing, shouldst thou stand excused, for doing worthy vengeance on thyself, which didst unworthy slaughter upon others. Why then they are not dead, but dead they are, and devilish slave by thee, in thy foul throat thou least. Queen Margaret saw thy murderous falchion smoking in his blood, the which thou once didst bend against her breast, but that thy brothers beat aside the point. I was provoked by her slanderous tongue, which laid their guilt upon my guiltless shoulders. Thou wast provoked by thy bloody mind, which never dreamt on aught but butcheries. Didst thou not kill this king? Dost grant me hedgehog? Then, God grant me too thou mayst be damned for that wicked deed. Oh, he was gentle, mild, and virtuous? Let him thank me that holp to send him thither, for he was fitter for that place than earth. I know so. But, gentle Lady Anne, to leave this keen encounter of our wits and fall somewhat into a slower method, is not the causer of the timeless deaths of these Plantagenets, Henry and Edward, as blameful as the executioner? Your beauty was the cause of that effect. Your beauty, which did haunt me in my sleep to undertake the death of all the world, so I might live 1 hour in your sweet bosom. If I thought that, I tell thee, homicide, these nails should rend that beauty from my cheeks. These eyes could never endure sweet beauty's wreck. You should not blemish it if I stood by. As all the world is cheered by the sun, so I by that. It is my day, my life. It is a quarrel most unnatural, to be revenged on him that loveth you. It is a quarrel just and reasonable, to be revenged on him that slew my husband. He that bereft thee, lady, of thy husband, did it to help thee to a better husband. Never hung poison on a fouler toad. Out of my sight? Thou dost infect my eyes. I would they were, that I might die at once, for now they kill me with a living death. Those eyes of thine from mine have drawn salt tears, shamed their aspect with store of childish drops, these eyes, which never shed remorseful tear, no. When my father York and Edward wept, to hear the piteous moan that Rutland made when black-faced Clifford shook his sod at him, nor when thy warlike father, like a child, told the sad story of my father's death, and 20 times made pause to sob and weep, that all the standers-by had wet their cheeks, like trees bedashed with rain. In that sad time, my manly eyes did scorn and humble tear, and what these sorrows could not thence exhale, thy beauty hath, and made them blind with weeping. I never sued to friend nor enemy, my tongue could never learn sweet smoothing words, but now thy beauty is proposed my fee, my proud heart sues and prompts my tongue to speak. She looks scornfully at him. Teach not thy lips such scorn, for they were made for kissing, lady, not for such contempt. If thy revengeful heart cannot forgive, lo, here I lend thee this sharp-pointed sword, which if thou please to hide in this true bosom, and let the soul forth that adoreth thee, I lay it naked to the deadly stroke, and humbly beg the death upon my knee. He lays his breast open, she offers it with his sword. Nay, do not pause, for I did kill King Henry, but 'twas thy beauty that provoked me. Nay, now dispatch, 'twas I that stabbed young Edward, but 'twas thy heavenly face that set me on. Here she lets fall the sod. Take up the sod again, or take up me. Arise, dissembler, though I wish thy death, I will not be the executioner. Tush, that was in thy rage, speak it again, and even with the word, that hand, which for thy love, did kill thy love, shall for thy love, kill a far truer love. To both their deaths thou shalt be accessory. Look, how this ring encompasseth thy finger, even so thy breast encloset my poor heart, wear both of them, for both of them are thine. And if thy poor devoted suppliant may but beg one favor at thy gracious hand, thou dost confirm his happiness for ever. That it would please thee leave these sad designs to him that hath more cause to be a mourner, and presently repair to Crosby Place, where, after I have solemnly interred at Chertsey Monastery this noble king, and wet his grave with my repentant tears, I will with all expedient duties see you. For divers unknown reasons, I beseech you, grant me this boon. With all my heart, and much it joys me too, to see you are become so penitent. Tressel and Berkeley go along with me. 'Tis more than you deserve, but since you teach me how to flatter you, imagine I have said farewell already. Exeunt Lady Anne, Tressel, and Berkeley. No, to Whitefriars, there attend my coming. Exeunt all but Gloucester. Was ever woman in this humour wooed? Was ever woman in this humour won? I'll have her, but I will not keep her long. What, I that killed her husband and his father, to take her in her heart's extremest hate, with curses in her mouth, tears in her eyes, the bleeding witness of her hatred by, having God, her conscience, and these bars against me, and I nothing to back my suit at all, but the plain devil and dissembling looks, and yet to win her, all the world to nothing. Ha, hath she forgot already that brave prince, Edward, her lord, whom I, some 3 months since, stabbed in my angry mood at Tewkesbury? A sweeter and a lovelier gentleman, framed in the prodigality of nature, young, valiant, wise, and, no doubt, right royal, the spacious world cannot again afford. And will she yet debase her eyes on me that cropped the golden prime of this sweet prince, and made her widow to a woeful bed? On me, whose all not equals Edward's moiety? On me, that halt and am unshapen thus? My dukedom to a beggarly denier, I do mistake my person all this while. Upon my life, she finds, although I cannot myself to be a marvellous proper man. Albeit charges for looking-glass, and entertain some scar or two of tailors, to study fashions to adorn my body. Since I am crept in favour with myself, I will maintain it with some little cost. But first I'll turn yon fellow in his grave, and then return lamenting to my love. Shine out, fair sun, till I have bought a glass, that I may see my shadow as I pass. Exit. Scene Roman 3. The palace. Have patience, madam, there's no doubt his majesty will soon recover his accustomed health. In that you brook it ill, it makes him worse, therefore, for God's sake, entertain good comfort, and cheer his grace with quick and merry words. The heavens have blessed you with a goodly son to be your comforter when he is gone. Oh, he is young, and his minority is put unto the trust of Richard Gloucester, a man that loves not me, nor none of you. It is determined, not concluded yet, but so it must be, if the king miscarry. The Countess Richmond, good my lord of Derby, to your good prayers will scarcely say amen. Yet Derby, notwithstanding she's your wife, and loves not me, be you, good lord, assured I hate not you for her proud arrogance. I do beseech you, either not believe the envious slanders of her false accusers, or, if she be accused in true report, bear with her weakness, which, I think, proceeds from wayward sickness, and no grounded malice. But now the Duke of Buckingham and I are come from visiting his majesty. Madam, we did. He desires to make atonement betwixt the Duke of Gloucester and your brothers, and betwixt them and my Lord Chamberlain, and sent to warn them to his royal presence. Would all were well, but that will never be. I fear our happiness is at the highest. They do me wrong, and I will not endure it. Who are they that complain unto the king that I, forsooth, am stern and love them not? By holy Paul, they love his grace but lightly that fill his ears with such dissentious rumours. Because I cannot flatter and speak fair, smile in men's faces, smooth, deceive and cog, duck with French nods and apish courtesy, I must be held a rancorous enemy. Cannot a plain man live and think no harm, but thus his simple truth must be abused by silken, sly, insinuating jacks. To thee that haste nor honesty nor grace. When have I injured thee? When done thee wrong? Are thee, or any of your faction, a plague upon you all? His royal person, whom God preserve better than you would wish, cannot be quiet scarce a breathing while, but you must trouble him with lewd complaints. Brother of Gloucester, you mistake the matter. The king, of his own royal disposition, and not provoked by any suitor else, aiming, belike, at your interior hatred, which in your outward actions shows itself against my kindred brothers and myself, makes him to send, that thereby he may gather the ground of your ill will, and so remove it. I cannot tell. The world is grown so bad, that wrens make prey where eagles dare not perch. Since every jack became a gentleman, there's many a gentle person made a jack. Come, come, we know your meaning, brother Gloucester. You envy my advancement and my friends. God grant we never may have need of you. Meantime, God grants that we have need of you. Your brother is imprisoned by your means, myself disgraced, and the nobility held in contempt, whilst many fair promotions are daily given to ennoble those that scarce, some 2 days since, were worth a noble. By him that raised me to this careful height from that contented hap which I enjoyed, I never did incense his majesty against the Duke of Clarence, but have been an earnest advocate to plead for him. My lord, you do me shameful injury, falsely, to draw me in these vile suspects. You may deny that you were not the cause of my Lord Hastings' late imprisonment. She may, Lord Rivers? Why, who knows not so? She may do more, sir, than denying that. She may help you to many fair preferments, and then deny her aiding hand therein, and lay those honours on your high deserts. What may she not? She may, marry, may she? What, marry, may she? Marry with a king, a bachelor, a handsome stripling too. I wise your grandam had a worse a match. My lord of Gloucester, I have too long borne your blunt upbraidings and your bitter scoffs. By heaven, I will acquaint his majesty with those gross taunts I often have endured. I had rather be a country servant maid than a great queen, with this condition, to be thus taunted, scorned, and baited at. And lesson be that small, God, I beseech thee. Thy honour, state, and seat is due to me. What, threat you me with telling of the king? Tell him, and spare not. Look, what I have said I will avouch in presence of the king. I dare adventure to be sent to the Tower. 'Tis time to speak, my pains are quite forgot. Out, devil? I remember them too well. Thou slewest my husband Henry in the Tower, and Edward, my poor son, at Tewkesbury. Ere you were queen, or your husband king, I was a pack-horse in his great affairs, a weeder out of his proud adversaries, a liberal rewarder of his friends. To royalize his blood I spilt mine own. In all which time you and your husband Grey were factious for the house of Lancaster. And Rivers, so were you. Was not your husband in Margaret's battle at St. Albans slain? Let me put in your minds, if you forget, what you have been ere now, and what you are, withal what I have been, and what I am. Poor Clarence did forsake his father, Warwick, yea, and forswore himself, which Jesu pardon, to fight on Edward's party for the crown, and for his meed, poor lord, he is mewed up. I would to God my heart were flint, like Edward's, or Edward's soft and pitiful, like mine. I am too childish foolish for this world. Hie thee to hell for shame, and leave the world, thou cacoedman, there thy kingdom is. My lord of Gloucester, in those busy days which here you urge to prove us enemies, we followed then our lord, our lawful king, so should we you, if you should be our king. If I should be, I had rather be a pedlar, far be it from my heart the thought of it. As little joy, my lord, as you suppose you should enjoy, were you this country's king, as little joy may you suppose in me, that I enjoy being the queen thereof. A little joy enjoys the queen thereof, for I am she, and altogether joyless. I can no longer hold me patient, advancing. Hear me, you wrangling pirates that fall out in sharing that which you have pilled from me. Which of you trembles not that looks on me? If not that, I being queen, you bow like subjects, yet that, by you deposed, you quake like rebels? O gentle villain, do not turn away, but repetition of what thou hast Maud, that will I make before I let thee go. But I do find more pain in banishment than death can yield me here by my abode. A husband and a son thou owest to me, and thou a kingdom, all of you allegiance. The sorrow that I have by right is yours, and all the pleasures you usurp are mine. The curse my noble father laid on thee, when thou didst crown his warlike brows with paper, and with thy scones drewst rivers from his eyes, and then, to dry them, gavest the Duke a clout steeped in the faultless blood of pretty Rutland. His curses, then from bitterness of soul denounced against thee, are all fallen upon thee, and God, not we, hath plagued thy bloody deed. Oh, 'twas the foulest deed to slay that babe, and the most merciless that e'er was heard of. What, were you snarling all before I came, ready to catch each other by the throat, and turn you all your hatred now on me? Did York's dread curse prevail so much with heaven that Henry's death, my lovely Edward's death, their kingdom's loss, my woeful banishment, could all but answer for that peevish brat? Can curses pierce the clouds and enter heaven? Why then, give way, dull clouds, to my quick curses. If not by war, by surfeit die your king, as ours by murder, to make him a king? Edward thy son, which now is Prince of Wales, for Edward my son, which was Prince of Wales, die in his youth by like untimely violence. Thyself a queen for me that was a queen, outlive thy glory, like my wretched self. Long mayst thou live to wail thy children's loss, and see another, as I see thee now, decked in thy rights as thou art stalled in mine. Long die thy happy days before thy death, and after many lengthened hours of grief, die neither mother, wife, nor England's queen. Rivers and Dorset, you were standers by, and so wast thou, Lord Hastings, when my son was stabbed with bloody daggers. God, I pray him, that none of you may live your natural age, but by some unlooked accident cut off. And leave out thee? Stay, dog, for thou shalt hear me. If heaven have any grievous plague in store exceeding those that I can wish upon thee, oh, let them keep it till thy sins be ripe, and then hurl down their indignation on thee, the troubler of the poor world's peace. The worm of conscience still begnaw thy soul, thy friends suspect for traitors while thou livest, and take deep traitors for thy dearest friends. No sleep close up that deadly eye of thine, unless it be whilst some tormenting dream affrights thee with a hell of ugly devils. Thou elvish-mocked, abortive, rooting hog, thou that wast sealed in thy nativity the slave of nature and the son of hell. Thou slander of thy mother's heavy womb, thou loathed issue of thy father's loins, thou rag of honor, thou detested, I cry thee mercy then, for I had thought that thou hadst called me all these bitter names. Why, so I did, but looked for no reply. Oh, let me make the period to my curse, poor painted queen, vain flourish of my fortune. Why strewest thou sugar on that bottled spider, whose deadly web ensnareth thee about? Fool, fool, thou whetst a knife to kill thyself. The time will come when thou shalt wish for me to help thee curse that poisonous bunch-backed toad. False-boding woman, end thy frantic curse, lest to thy harm thou move our patience. To serve me well, you all should do me duty, teach me to be your queen, and you my subjects, oh, serve me well, and teach yourselves that duty? Peace, master Marquess, you are malapert. Your fine new stamp of honor is scarce current. Oh, that your young nobility could judge what 'twere to lose it, and be miserable. They that stand high have many blasts to shake them, and if they fall, they dash themselves to pieces. Yea, and much more, but I was born so high, our eyrie buildeth in the cedar's top, and dallies with the wind and scorns the sun. and turns the sun to shade. Alas, alas, witness my son, now in the shade of death, whose bright outshining beams thy cloudy wrath hath in eternal darkness folded up. Your eyrie buildeth in our Aries' nest. O God, that seest it, do not suffer it, as it was won with blood, lost be it so. Urge neither charity nor shame to me, uncharitably with me have you dealt, and shamefully by you my hopes abutchered. My charity is outrage, life my shame, and in that shame still live my sorrow's rage. O princely Buckingham, I'll kiss thy hand, in sign of league and amity with thee. Now fair befall thee and thy noble house. Thy garments are not spotted with our blood, nor thou within the compass of my curse, nor no one here, for curses never pass the lips of those that breathe them in the air. I'll not believe but they ascend the sky, and there awake God's gentle sleeping peace. O Buckingham, take heed of yonder dog. Look, when he fawns, he bites, and when he bites, his venom tooth will rankle to the death. Have not to do with him, beware of him. Sin, death, and hell have set their marks on him, and all their ministers attend on him. What, dost thou scorn me for my gentle counsel, and soothe the devil that I warn thee from? Oh, but remember this another day, when he shall split thy very heart with sorrow, and say poor Margaret was a prophetess. Live each of you the subjects to his hate, and he to yours, and all of you to God's. Exit. I cannot blame her. By God's holy mother, she hath had too much wrong, and I repent my part thereof that I have done to her. But you have all the vantage of her wrong. I was too hot to do somebody good, that is too cold in thinking of it now. Marry, as for Clarence, he is well repaid, he is franked up to fatting for his pains, God pardon them that are the cause of it. A virtuous and a Christian-like conclusion, to pray for them that have done scathe to us. So do I ever, aside being well advised, for had I cursed now, I had cursed myself. Madam, his majesty doth call for you, and for your grace, and you, my noble lords, I do the wrong, and first begin to brawl. The secret mischiefs that I set abroach I lay unto the grievous charge of others. Clarence, whom I indeed have laid in darkness, I do beweep to many simple gulls, namely, to Hastings, Derby, Buckingham, and say it is the Queen and her allies that stir the King against the Duke my brother. Now they believe it, and withal wet me to be revenged on Rivers, Vaughan, Grey. But then I sigh, and with a piece of scripture, tell them that God bids us do good for evil, and thus I clothe my naked villainy with old odd ends stolen out of holy writ, and seem a saint, when most I play the devil. But soft, here come my executioners. How now, my haughty, stout, resolved mates, are you now going to dispatch this deed? We are, my lord, and come to have the warrant that we may be admitted where he is. Well thought upon, I have it here about me, gives the warrant. When you have done, repair to Crosby Place. But sirs, be sudden in the execution, withal obdurate, do not hear him plead, for Clarence is well spoken, and perhaps may move your hearts to pity if you mock him. Tush, fear not, my lord, we will not stand to prate. Talkers are no good doers. Be assured we come to use our hands and not our tongues. Your eyes drop millstones, when fools' eyes drop tears. I like you, lads, about your business straight. Go, go, dispatch. Scene room in Fall London. The Tower. Oh, I have passed a miserable night, so full of ugly sights, of ghastly dreams, that, as I am a Christian faithful man, I would not spend another such a night, though 'twere to buy a world of happy days, so full of dismal terror was the time. Methoughts that I had broken from the Tower, and was embarked to cross to Burgundy, and in my company my brother Gloucester, who from my cabin tempted me to walk upon the hatches. Thence we looked toward England, and sighted up 1,000 fearful times, during the wars of York and Lancaster that had befallen us. As we paced along upon the giddy footing of the hatches, methought that Gloucester stumbled, and in falling struck me that thought to stay him overboard into the tumbling billows of the main. Laud, Laud, methought, what pain it was to drown, what dreadful noise of waters in mine ears, what ugly sights of death within mine eyes. Methought I saw 1,000 fearful wrecks, 10,000 men that fishes gnawed upon, wedges of gold, great anchors, heaps of pearl, inestimable stones, unvalued jewels, all scattered in the bottom of the sea. Some lay in dead men's skulls, and in those holes where eyes did once inhabit, there were crept, as 'twere in sconne of eyes, reflecting gems, which wooed the slimy bottom of the deep, and mocked the dead bones that lay scattered by. Had you such leisure in the time of death to gaze upon the secrets of the deep? Methought I had, and often did I strive to yield the ghost, but still the envious flood kept in my soul, and would not let it forth to seek the empty, vast, and wondering air, but smothered it within my panting bulk, which almost burst to belch it in the sea. Oh no, my dream was lengthened off to life. Oh, then began the tempest to my soul, who passed, methought, the melancholy flood, with that grim ferryman which poets write of, unto the kingdom of perpetual night. The first that there did greet my stranger soul was my great father-in-law, renowned Warwick, who cried aloud, "What scourge for perjury can this dark monarchy afford false Clarence?" And so he vanished. Then came wandering by a shadow like an angel, with bright hair dabbled in blood, and he squeaked out aloud, "Clarence is come, false, fleeting, perjured Clarence that stabbed me in the field by Tewkesbury. Seize on him, furies, take him to your torments." With that, methoughts, a legion of foul fiends environed me about, and howled in mine ears such hideous cries, that with the very noise I trembling waked, and for a season after could not believe but that I was in hell, such terrible impression made the dream. No marvel, my lord, though it affrighted you. I promise you, I am afraid to hear you tell it. O Brakenbury, I have done those things, which now bear evidence against my soul, for Edward's sake, and see how he requites me? O God, if my deep prayers cannot appease thee, but thou wilt be avenged on my misdeeds, yet execute thy wrath in me alone. O, spare my guiltless wife and my poor children. I pray thee, gentle keeper, stay by me. My soul is heavy, and I fain would sleep. I will, my lord. God give your grace good rest. Clarence sleeps. Sorrow breaks seasons and reposing hours, makes the night morning, and the noontide night. Princes have but their titles for their glories, an outward honor for an inward toil, and for unfelt imagination, they often feel a world of restless cares, so that, betwixt their tides and low names, there's nothing differs but the outward fame. I am, in this, commanded to deliver the noble Duke of Clarence to your hands. I will not reason what is meant hereby, because I will be guiltless of the meaning. Here are the keys, there sits the Duke asleep, I'll to the king, and signify to him that thus I have resigned my charge to you. How darkly and how deadly dost thou speak! Your eyes do menace me, why look you pale? Who sent you hither? Wherefore do you come? You scarcely have the hearts to tell me so, and therefore cannot have the hearts to do it. Wherein, my friends, have I offended you? Are you called forth from out a world of men to slay the innocent? What is my offense? Where are the evidence that do accuse me? What lawful quest have given their verdict up unto the frowning judge, all who pronounced the bitter sentence of poor Clarence's death? Before I be convict by cause of law, to threaten me with death is most unlawful. I charge you, as you hope to have redemption by Christ's dear blood shed for our grievous sins, that you depart and lay no hands on me. The deed you undertake is damnable. Erroneous vassal, the great King of kings hath in the tables of his law commanded that thou shalt do no murder. And wilt thou, then, spurn at his edict and fulfill a man's? Take heed, for he holds vengeance in his hands to hurl upon their heads that break his law. And that same vengeance doth he hurl on thee, for false forswearing, and for murder too? Thou didst receive the holy sacrament to fight in quarrel of the house of Lancaster, and like a traitor to the name of God, didst break that vow, and with thy treacherous blade unripst the bowels of thy sovereign's son. How canst thou urge God's dreadful law to us, when thou hast broke it in so dear degree? Alas, for whose sake did I that ill deed? For Edward, for my brother, for his sake. Why, sirs, he sends ye not to murder me for this, for in this sin he is as deep as I. If God will be revenged for this deed, oh, know you yet, he doth it publicly. Take not the quarrel from his powerful arm. He needs no indirect nor lawless cost to cut off those that have offended him. Who made thee then a bloody minister, when gallant springing brave Plantagenet, that princely novice, was struck dead by thee? Thy brother's love, our duty, and thy fault, provoke us hither now to slaughter thee. Oh, if you love my brother, hate not me. I am his brother, and I love him well. If you be hired for meed, go back again, and I will send you to my brother Gloucester, who shall reward you better for my life than Edward will for tidings of my death. Oh, no, he loves me, and he holds me dear. Go you to him from me. Tell him, when that our princely father York blessed his 3 sons with his victorious arm, and charged us from his soul to love each other, he little thought of this divided friendship. Bid Gloucester think of this, and he will weep. Right as snow in harvest. Thou deceivest thyself. 'Tis he that sent us hither now to slaughter thee. It cannot be, for when I parted with him, he hugged me in his arms and swore, with sobs, that he would labor my delivery. Why, so he doth. Now he delivers thee from this world's thraldom to the joys of heaven. Haste thou that holy feeling in thy soul, to counsel me to make my peace with God, and art thou yet to thy own soul so blind, that thou wilt war with God by murdering me? Ah, sirs, consider, he that set you on to do this deed will hate you for the deed. Not to relent is beastly, savage, devilish. Which of you, if you were a prince's son, being pent from liberty, as I am now, if 2 such murderers as yourselves came to you, would not entreat for life? My friend, I spy some pity in thy looks. Oh, if thine eye be not a flatterer, come thou on my side, and entreat for me, as you would beg were you in my distress. A begging prince what beggar pities not. Take that and that, if all this will not do, stabs him I'll drown you in the Malmsey butt within. Exit with the body. A bloody deed, and desperately dispatched? How fain, like Pilate, would I wash my hands of this most grievous guilty murder done. How now? What mean'st thou that thou helpst me not? By heavens, the Duke shall know how slack thou art. I would he knew that I had saved his brother. Take thou the fee, and tell him what I say, for I repent me that the Duke is slain. Exit. So do not I? Go, coward as thou art. Now must I hide his body in some hole, until the Duke take order for his burial, and when I have my meed, I must away, for this will out, and here I must not stay. Richard Roman III by William Shakespeare. Uncopyright may you do good and not evil. May you find forgiveness for yourself, and forgive others. May you share freely, never taking more than you give. Copyright pages exist to tell you that you can't do something. Unlike them, this uncopyright page exists to tell you that the writing and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. The United States public domain represents our collective cultural heritage, and items in it are free for anyone in the United States to do almost anything at all with, without having to get permission. Copyright laws are different all over the world, and the source text or artwork in this ebook may still be copyrighted in other countries. If you're not located in the United States, you must check your local laws before using this ebook. Standard ebooks makes no representations regarding the copyright status of the source text or artwork in this ebook in any country other than the United States. Non-authorship activities performed on items that are in the public domain, so-called sweat of the brow, work, don't create a new copyright. That means that nobody can claim a new copyright on an item that is in the public domain for, among other things, work like digitization, mock-up, or typography. Regardless, the contributors to this ebook release their contributions under the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain dedication, thus dedicating to the worldwide public domain all of the work they've done on this ebook, including but not limited to metadata, the title page, imprint, colophon, this uncopyright, and any changes or enhancements to, or mock-up on, the original text and artwork. This dedication doesn't change the copyright status of the source text or artwork. We make this dedication in the interest of enriching our global cultural heritage, to promote free and libre culture around the world, and to give back to the unrestricted culture that has given all of us so much. Table of Contents Landmarks, Act Roman II Sinai London, the Palace. Why so? Now have I done a good day's work. You peers, continue this united league. I every day expect an embassage from my Redeemer to redeem me hence, and now in peace my soul shall part to heaven, since I have set my friends at peace on earth. Rivers and Hastings, take each other's hand, dissemble not your hatred, swear your love. By heaven, my heart is purged from grudging hate, and with my hand I seal my true heart's love. Take heed you dally not before your king, lest he that is the supreme King of kings confound your hidden falsehood, and award either of you to be the other's end. Madam, yourself are not exempt in this, nor your son Dorset, Buckingham, nor you have been factious one against the other. Wife, love Lord Hastings, let him kiss your hand, and what you do, do it unfeignedly. Here, Hastings, I will never more remember our former hatred, so thrive I in mine. This interchange of love, I here protest upon my part shall be inviolable. Now, princely Buckingham, seal thou this league with thy embracements to my wife's allies, and make me happy in your unity. Whenever Buckingham doth turn his hate on you, all yours to the queen, but with all duteous love doth cherish you and yours, God punish me with hate in those where I expect most love. When I have most need to employ a friend, and most assured that he is a friend, deep, hollow, treacherous, and full of guile, be he unto me, this do I beg of God when I am cold in zeal to yours. They embrace. A pleasing, cordial, princely Buckingham, is this thy vow unto my sickly heart? There wanteth now our brother Gloucester here to make the perfect period of this peace. Good morrow to my sovereign king and queen, and princely peers, a happy time of day, happy indeed as we have spent the day. Brother, we have done deeds of charity, made peace of enmity, fair love of hate, between these swelling wrong-incensed peers. A blessed labour, my most sovereign liege, amongst this princely heap, if any here, by false intelligence or wrong surmise, hold me a foe. If I unwittingly, or in my rage, have aught committed that is hardly borne by any in this presence, I desire to reconcile me to his friendly peace. 'Tis death to me to be at enmity, I hate it, and desire all good men's love. First, madam, I entreat true peace of you, which I will purchase with my duteous service. Of you, my noble cousin Buckingham, if ever any grudge were lodged between us. Of you, Lord Rivers, and Lord Grey of you, that all without desert have frowned on me, dukes, earls, lords, gentlemen, indeed of all. I do not know that Englishman alive with whom my soul is any jot at odds more than the infant that is born tonight. I thank my God for my humility. A holy day shall this be kept hereafter. I would to God all strifes were well compounded. My sovereign liege, I do beseech your majesty to take our brother Clarence to your grace. Why, madam, have I offered love for this to be so flouted in this royal presence? Who knows not that the noble duke is dead? They all start. You do him injury to scorn his cause. Ay, my good lord, and no one in this presence but his red colour hath forsook his cheeks. But he, poor soul, by your first order died, and that a winged Mercury did bear, some toddy cripple by the countermand that came too lag to see him buried. God grant that some, less noble and less loyal, nearer in bloody thoughts but not in blood, deserve not worse than wretched Clarence did, and yet go current from suspicion? The forfeit, sovereign, of my servant's life, who slew today a righteous gentleman lately attendant on the Duke of Norfolk. Have I a tongue to doom my brother's death, and shall the same give pardon to a slave? My brother slew no man, his fault was thought, and yet his punishment was cruel death. Who sued to me for him? Who, in my rage, kneeled at my feet and bade me be advised? Who spake of brotherhood? Who spake of love? Who told me how the poor soul did forsake the mighty Warwick and did fight for me? Who told me in the field by Tewkesbury, when Oxford had me down, he rescued me and said, "Dear brother, live, and be a king"? Who told me, when we both lay in the field frozen almost to death, how he did lap me even in his own garments, and gave himself, all thin and naked, to the numb cold night? All this from my remembrance brutish wrath sinfully plucked, and not a man of you had so much grace to put it in my mind. But when your cotters or your waiting vassals have done a drunken slaughter, and defaced the precious image of our dear Redeemer, you straight are on your knees for pardon, and I, unjustly too, must grant it you. But for my brother not a man would speak, nor I, ungracious, speak unto myself for him, poor soul. The proudest of you all have been beholding to him in his life, yet none of you would once plead for his life. O God, I fear thy justice will take hold on me, and you, and mine, and yours for this. Come, Hastings, help me to my closet. Oh, poor Clarence, exeunt some with king and queen. This is the fruit of rashness? Mocked you not how that the guilty kindred of the queen looked pale when they did hear of Clarence's death? Oh, they did urge it still unto the king. God will revenge it. But come, let us in, to comfort Edward with our company. Scene room into the palace. Why do you wring your hands and beat your breast, and cry, O Clarence, my unhappy son? Why do you look on us, and shake your head, and call us wretches, orphans, castaways, if that our noble father be alive? My pretty cousins, you mistake me much. I do lament the sickness of the king, as loath to lose him, not your father's death. It were lost sorrow to wail one that's lost. Then, grandam, you conclude that he is dead. The king my uncle is to blame for this. God will revenge it, whom I will importune with daily prayers all to that effect. Peace, children, peace. The king doth love you well. Incapable and shallow innocence, you cannot guess who caused your father's death. Grandam, we can, for my good uncle Gloucester told me, the king, provoked by the queen, devised impeachments to imprison him. And when my uncle told me so, he wept and hugged me in his arm and kindly kissed my cheek, bade me rely on him as on my father, and he would love me dearly as his child. Oh, that deceit should steal such gentle shapes, and with a virtuous visage hide foul guile. He is my son, yea, and therein my shame, yet from my dugs he drew not this deceit. Oh, who shall hinder me to wail and weep, to chide my fortune and torment myself? I'll join with black despair against my soul, and to myself become an enemy. To make an act of tragic violence, Edward, my lord, your son, our king, is dead. Why grow the branches now the root is withered? Why wither not the leaves the sap being gone? If you will live, lament; if die, be brief, that our swift-winged souls may catch the king's. Or, like obedient subjects, follow him to his new kingdom of perpetual rest. Ah, so much interest have I in thy sorrow, as I had title in thy noble husband. I have bewept a worthy husband's death, and lived by looking on his images. But now 2 mirrors of his princely semblance are cracked in pieces by malignant death, and I for comfort have but 1 false glass, which grieves me when I see my shame in him. Thou art a widow, yet thou art a mother, and haste the comfort of thy children left thee. But death hath snatched my husband from mine arms, and plucked 2 crutches from my feeble limbs, Edward and Clarence. Oh, what cause have I, thine being but a moiety of my grief, to overgo thy plaints and drown thy cries? Good aunt, you wept not for our father's death. How can we aid you with our kindred tears? Our fatherless distress was left unmoaned. Your widow dollar likewise be unwept. Give me no help in lamentation. I am not barren to bring forth complaints. All springs reduce their currents to mine eyes, that I, being governed by the watery moon, may send forth plenteous tears to drown the world. Oh, for my husband, for my dear Lord Edward. Was never mother had so dear a loss. Alas, I am the mother of these moans. Their woes are parcelled, mine are general. She for an Edward weeps, and so do I for a Clarence weep. So doth not she, these babes for Clarence weep, and so do I for an Edward weep, so do not they. Alas, you 3 on me, threefold distressed, pour all your tears. I am your sorrow's nurse, and I will pamper it with lamentations. Comfort, dear mother. God is much displeased that you take with unthankfulness his doing. In common worldly things 'tis called ungrateful, with dull unwillingness to repay a debt which with a bounteous hand was kindly lent. Much more to be thus opposite with heaven, for it requires the royal debt it lent you. Madam, bethink you, like a careful mother, of the young prince your son. Send straight for him. Let him be crowned. In him your comfort lives, drown desperate sorrow in dead Edward's grave, and plant your joys in living Edward's throne. Madam, have comfort. All of us have cause to wail the dimming of our shining star, but none can cure their harms by wailing them. Madam, my mother, I do cry you mercy. I did not see your grace. Humbly on my knee I crave your blessing. God bless thee, and put meekness in thy mind, love, charity, obedience, and true duty aside. Amen, and make me die a good old man. That is the butt end of a mother's blessing. I marvel why her grace did leave it out. You cloudy princes and hot sorrowing peers that bear this mutual heavy load of moan, now cheer each other in each other's love. Though we have spent our harvest of this king, we are to reap the harvest of his son. The broken rancor of your high-swollen hearts, but lately splinted, knit and joined together, must gently be preserved, cherished, and kept. Me seemeth good, that, with some little train, forthwith from Ludlow the young prince be fetched hither to London, to be crowned our king. Marry, my lord, lest, by a multitude, the new-healed wound of malice should break out, which would be so much the more dangerous, by how much the estate is green and yet ungoverned, where every hoss bears his commanding rein, and may direct his causes please himself, as well the fear of harm, as harm apparent, in my opinion, ought to be prevented. I hope the king made peace with all of us, and the compact is firm and true in me. And so in me, and so, I think, in all. Yet, since it is but green, it should be put to no apparent likelihood of breach, which haply by much company might be urged. Therefore I say with noble Buckingham, that it is meet so few should fetch the prince. Then be it so, and go we to determine who they shall be that straight shall post to Ludlow. Madam, and you, my mother, will you go to give your censures in this weighty business? My lord, whoever journeys to the prince. For God's sake, let not us 2 be behind. For by the way, I'll sought occasion, as index to the story we late talked of, to pot the queen's proud kindred from the king. My other self, my counsels consistory, my oracle, my prophet. My dear cousin, I, like a child, will go by thy direction. Towards Ludlow then, for we'll not stay behind. Exeunt. Scene Roman 3 London. A street, I promise you, I scarcely know myself. Hear you the news abroad? Bad news, by a lady, seldom comes the better, I fear 'twill prove a troublous world. In him there is a hope of government, that in his non-age counsel under him, and in his full and ripened years himself, no doubt, shall then and till then govern well. So stood the state when Henry VI was crowned in Paris, but at 9 months old. Stood the state so? No, no, good friends, God wot. For then this land was famously enriched with politic grave counsel. Then the king had virtuous uncles to protect his grace. Better it were they all came by the father, or by the father there were none at all. For emulation now, who shall be nearest, will touch us all too near, if God prevent not. Oh, full of danger is the Duke of Gloucester, and the queen's sons and brothers hot and proud, and were they to be ruled, and not to rule, this sickly land might solace as before. When clouds appear, wise men put on their cloaks. When great leaves fall, the winter is at hand. When the sun sets, who doth not look for night? Untimely storms make men expect a dearth. All may be well, but if God sought it so, 'tis more than we deserve or I expect. Truly, the souls of men are full of dread. Ye cannot reason almost with a man that looks not heavily and full of fear. Before the times of change, still is it so. By a divine instinct men's minds mistrust ensuing dangers, as by proof, we see the waters swell before a boisterous storm, but leave it all to God. Whither away? Scene Roman for London. The palace. Last night, I hear, they lay at Northampton. At Stony Stratford will they be tonight, tomorrow, or next day, they will be here? I long with all my heart to see the prince. I hope he is much grown since last I saw him. But I hear no, they say my son of York hath almost overta'en him in his growth. Grandam, one night, as we did sit at supper, my uncle Rivers talked how I did grow more than my brother. Ay, quoth my uncle Gloucester, small herbs have grace, great weeds do grow apace. And since, methinks, I would not grow so fast, because sweet flowers are slow and weeds make haste. Good faith, the saying did not hold in him that did object the same to thee. He was the wretchedst thing when he was young, so long growing and so leisurely, that if this rule were true, he should be gracious. Now, by my troth, if I had been remembered, I could have given my uncle's grace a flout to touch his growth nearer than he touched mine. Marry, they say my uncle grew so fast that he could gnaw a crust at 2 hours old. 'Twas full 2 years ere I could get a tooth. Grandam, this would have been a biting jest. Lord Rivers and Lord Grey are sent to Pomfret, with them Sir Thomas Vaughan, prisoners, the mighty Dukes Gloucester and Buckingham. The sum of all I have disclosed. Why or for what these nobles were committed is all unknown to me, my gracious lady. I see the downfall of our house. The tiger now hath seized the gentle hind. Insulting tyranny begins to jet upon the innocent, and all is thrown. Welcome, destruction, death, and massacre. I see, as in a map, the end of all. Accursed and unquiet wrangling days, how many of you have mine eyes beheld? My husband lost his life to get the crown, and often up and down my sons were tossed, for me to joy and weep their gain and loss. And being seated, and domestic broils clean overblown, themselves, the conquerors, make war upon themselves, blood against blood, self against self. O preposterous and frantic outrage, end thy damned spleen. Oh, let me die, to look on death no more? Come, my boy, we will to sanctuary. Madam, farewell. My gracious lady, go, and thither bear your treasure and your goods. For my part, I'll resign unto your grace the seal I keep, and so betide to me as well I tender you and all of yours. Come, I'll conduct you to the sanctuary. Exeunt. Act Roman 3, Scene I London. A street. Welcome, dear cousin, my thoughts sovereign. The weary way hath made you melancholy. No, uncle, but our crosses on the way have made it tedious, wearisome, and heavy. I want more uncles here to welcome me. Sweet prince, the untainted virtue of your years hath not yet dived into the world's deceit, nor more can you distinguish of a man than of his outward show, which, God he knows, seldom or never jumpeth with the heart. Those uncles which you want were dangerous. Your grace attended to their sugared words, but looked not on the poison of their hearts. God keep you from them, and from such false friends. I thank you, good my lord, and thank you all. I thought my mother and my brother York would long ere this have met us on the way. Fie, what a slug is Hastings, that he comes not to tell us whether they will come or no. On what occasion? God he knows, not I, the queen your mother, and your brother York, have taken sanctuary. The tender prince would fain have come with me to meet your grace, but by his mother was perforce withheld. Fie, what an indirect and peevish cause is this of hers. Lord Cardinal, will your grace persuade the queen to send the Duke of York unto his princely brother presently? If she deny, Lord Hastings, go with him, and from her jealous arms pluck him perforce. My Lord of Buckingham, if my weak oratory can from his mother win the Duke of York, anon expect him here. But if she be obdurate to mild entreaties, God in heaven forbid we should infringe the holy privilege of blessed sanctuary. Not for all this land would I be guilty of so deep a sin. You are too senseless obstinate, my lord, too ceremonious and traditional. Weigh it but with the grossness of this age, you break not sanctuary in seizing him. The benefit thereof is always granted to those whose dealings have deserved the place, and those who have the wit to claim the place. This prince hath neither claimed it nor deserved it, and therefore, in mine opinion, cannot have it. Then, taking him from thence that is not there, you break no privilege nor charter there. Oft have I heard of sanctuary men, but sanctuary children ne'er till now. My lord, you shall o'errule my mind for once. Come on, Lord Hastings, will you go with me? Good lords, make all the speedy haste you may. Exeunt Cardinal and Hastings. Say, Uncle Gloucester, if our brother come, where shall we sojourn till our coronation? Where it seems best unto your royal self. If I may counsel you, some day or two your highness shall repose you at the Tower, then where you please, and shall be thought most fit for your best health and recreation. I do not like the Tower of any place. Did Julius Caesar build that place, my lord? He did, my gracious lord, begin that place, which since succeeding ages have re-edified. Is it upon record, or else reported successively from age to age, he built it? But say, my lord, it were not registered, methinks the truth should live from age to age, as 'twere retailed to all posterity, even to the general all-ending day. I say, without characters, fame lives long. Aside. Thus, like the formal vice, iniquity, I moralize two meanings in one word. That Julius Caesar was a famous man, with what his valor did enrich his wit set down to make his valor live. Death makes no conquest of this conqueror, for now he lives in fame, though not in life. I'll tell you what, my cousin Buckingham, and if I live until I be a man, I'll win our ancient right in France again, or die a soldier as I lived a king. Aye, brother, to our grief, as it is yours, too late he died that might have kept that title, which by his death hath lost much majesty. I thank you, gentle uncle. Oh, my lord, you said that idle weeds are fast in growth. The prince, my brother, hath outgrown me far. He may command me as my sovereign, but you have power in me as in a kinsman. Of my kind uncle, that I know will give, and being but a toy, which is no grief to give. Oh, then, I see, you will pot but with light gifts, in weightier things you'll say a beggar nay. My lord of York will still be cross in talk, uncle, your grace knows how to bear with him. You mean to bear me, not to bear with me, uncle, my brother mocks both you and me, because that I am little, like an ape, he thinks that you should bear me on your shoulders. With what a sharp-provided wit he reasons. To mitigate the scorn he gives his uncle, he prettily and aptly taunts himself. So cunning and so young is wonderful. My lord, wilt please you pass along? Myself and my good cousin Buckingham will to your mother, to entreat of her to meet you at the Tower and welcome you. Marry, my Uncle Clarence angry ghost, my grandam told me he was murdered there. And if they live, I hope I need not fear. But come, my lord, and with a heavy heart, thinking on them, go I unto the Tower. A senate, exeunt all but Gloucester, Buckingham, and Catesby. Think you, my lord, this little prating York was not incensed by his subtle mother to taunt and scorn you thus opprobriously? No doubt, no doubt. Oh, 'tis a Paulus boy, bold, quick, ingenious, forward, capable. He is all the mother's from the top to toe. Well, let them rest. Come hither, Catesby. Thou art sworn as deeply to affect what we intend as closely to conceal what we impart. Thou know'st our reasons urged upon the way. What think'st thou? Is it not an easy matter to make William Lord Hastings of our mind, for the instalment of this noble duke in the seat royal of this famous isle? He for his father's sake so loves the prince, that he will not be one to aught against him. Well then, no more but this. Go, gentle Catesby, and as it were far off, sound thou Lord Hastings, how doth he stand affected to our purpose, and summon him tomorrow to the Tower, to sit about the coronation. If thou dost find him tractable to us, encourage him, and show him all our reasons. If he be leaden, icy cold, unwilling, be thou so too, and so break off your talk, and give us notice of his inclination, for we tomorrow hold divided councils, wherein thyself shalt highly be employed. Commend me to Lord William. Tell him, Catesby, his ancient knot of dangerous adversaries tomorrow I'll let blood at Pomfret Castle, and bid my friend, for joy of this good news, give Mistress Shaw one gentle kiss the maw. Now, my lord, what shall we do, if we perceive Lord Hastings will not yield to our complots? Chop off his head, man, somewhat we will do, and look, when I am king, claim thou of me the earldom of Hereford, and the movables whereof the king my brother stood possessed, and look to have it yielded with all willingness. Come, let us sup betimes, that afterwards we may digest our complots in some form. Exeunt. Scene room and 2 before Lord Hastings' house. So it should seem by that I have to say. First he commends him to your noble lordship, and then he sends you word he dreamt tonight the Baw had raised his helm. Besides, he says there are 2 councils held, and that may be determined at the one which may make you and him to rue at the other. Therefore he sends to know your lordship's pleasure, if presently you will take horse with him, and with all speed post with him toward the north, to shun the danger that his soul divines. Go, fellow, go, return unto thy lord. Bid him not fear the separated councils. His honour and myself are at the one, and at the other is my servant Catesby, where nothing can proceed that toucheth us whereof I shall not have intelligence. Tell him his fears are shallow, wanting instance, and for his dreams, I wonder he is so fond to trust the mockery of unquiet slumbers. To fly the Baw before the Baw pursues, were to incense the Baw to follow us and make pursuit where he did mean no chase. Go, bid thy master rise and come to me, and we will both together to the Tower, where, he shall see, the Baw will use us kindly. Good morrow, Catesby, you are early stirring. What news, in this our tottering state? It is a reeling world indeed, my lord, and I believe 'twill never stand upright till Richard wear the garland of the realm. I'll have this crown of mine cut from my shoulders ere I will see the crown so foul misplaced. But canst thou guess that he doth aim at it? Aye, on my life, and hopes to find you forward upon his party for the gain thereof. And thereupon he sends you this good news, that this same very day your enemies, the kindred of the Queen, must die at Pomfret. Indeed, I am no mana for that news, because they have been still mine enemies, but that I'll give my voice on Richard's side, to bar my master's heirs in true descent. God knows I will not do it, to the death. But I shall laugh at this a 12-month hence, that they who brought me in my master's hate, I live to look upon their tragedy. I tell thee, Catesby, ere a fortnight make me elder, I'll send some packing that yet think not on it. 'Tis a vile thing to die, my gracious lord, when men are unprepared and look not for it. Oh, monstrous, monstrous, and so falls it out with Rivers, Vaughan, Grey, and so 'twill do with some men else, who think themselves as safe as thou and I, who, as thou know'st, are dear to princely Richard and to Buckingham. The princes both make high account of you, aside, for they account his head upon the bridge. Come on, where is your boss beer, man? Fear you the baw, and go so unprovided? My lord, good morrow, Catesby, you may jest on, but by the holy rood, I do not like these several counsels, My lord, I hold my life as dear as you do yours, and never in my life, I do protest, was it more precious to me than 'tis now, think you, but that I know our state secure, I would be so triumphant as I am? The lords at Pomfret, when they rode from London, were jocund, and supposed their state was sure, and they indeed had no cause to mistrust. But yet, you see how soon the day o'ercast. This sudden stab of rancor I misdoubt. Pray God, I say, I prove a needless coward. What shall we toward the tower? The day is spent. Come, have with you. What you what, my lord? Today the lords you talk of are beheaded. They for their truth might better wear their heads than some that have accused them wear their hats. But come, my lord, let us away. Go on before, I'll talk with this good fellow. Exeunt Stanley and Catesby. How now, sirrah? How goes the world with thee? I tell thee, man, 'tis better with me now than when I met thee last where now we meet. Then was I going prisoner to the Tower, by the suggestion of the Queen's allies, but now, I tell thee, keep it to thyself. This day those enemies are put to death, and I in better state than e'er I was. I thank thee, good Sir John, with all my heart. I am in your debt for your lost exercise, come the next Sabbath, and I will content you. He whispers in his ear. What, talking with a priest, Lord Chamberlain? Your friends at Pomfret, they do need the priest. Your honour hath no shriving work in hand. Good faith, and when I met this holy man, those men you talk of came into my mind. What, go you toward the Tower? I do, my lord, but long I shall not stay. I shall return before your lordship thence. Aside, and supper too, although thou know'st it not. Come, will you go? Scene Roman 3 Pomfret Castle. Sir Richard Ratcliffe, let me tell thee this. Today shalt thou behold a subject die for truth, for duty, and for loyalty. God keep the prince from all the pack of you. And not you are of damned bloodsuckers. O Pomfret, Pomfret, O thou bloody prison, fatal and ominous to noble peers, within the guilty closure of thy walls Richard the Second here was hacked to death, and, for more slander to thy dismal seat, we give thee up our guiltless blood to drink. Now Margaret's curse is fallen upon our heads, for standing by when Richard stabbed her son. Then cursed she Hastings, then cursed she Buckingham, then cursed she Richard. Oh, remember, God, to hear her prayers for them as now for us. And for my sister and her princely sons, be satisfied, dear God, with our true blood, which, as thou know'st, unjustly must be spilt. Come, Grey, come, Vaughan, let us all embrace and take our leave until we meet in heaven. Exeunt, Scene Roman for the Tower of London. My lords, at once, the cause why we are met is to determine of the coronation. In God's name speak, when is the royal day? Who knows the Lord Protector's mind herein? Who is most inward with the noble Duke? Who, I, my lord? We know each other's faces, but for our hearts he knows no more of mine than I of yours, nor I no more of his than you of mine. Lord Hastings, you and he are near in love. I thank his grace, I know he loves me well, but for his purpose in the coronation I have not sounded him, nor he delivered his gracious pleasure any way therein. But you, my noble lords, may name the time, and in the Duke's behalf I'll give my voice, which, I presume, he'll take in gentle pot. My noble lords and cousins all, good morrow. I have been long a sleeper, but I hope my absence doth neglect no great designs, which by my presence might have been concluded. Had not you come upon your cue, my lord, William Lord Hastings had pronounced your pot, I mean, your voice, for crowning of the king. Then my Lord Hastings no man might be bolder. His lordship knows me well, and loves me well. When I was lost in Holborn, I saw good strawberries in your garden there. I do beseech you send for some of them. Cousin of Buckingham, a word with you. Drawing him aside. Catesby hath sounded Hastings in our business, and finds the testy gentleman so hot, as he will lose his head, ere give consent his master's son, as worshipful as he terms it, shall lose the royalty of England's throne. We have not yet set down this day of triumph. Tomorrow, in mine opinion, is too sudden, for I myself am not so well provided as else I would be, were the day prolonged. His grace looks cheerfully and smooth today. There's some conceit or other likes him well, when he doth bid good morrow with such a spirit. I think there's never a man in Christendom that can less hide his love or hate than he, for by his face straight shall you know his heart. What of his heart perceive you in his face by any likelihood he showed today? Marry, that with no man here he is offended, for were he had shown it in his looks. I pray you all, tell me what they deserve that do conspire my death with devilish plots of damned witchcraft, and that have prevailed upon my body with their hellish charms. The tender love I bear your grace, my lord, makes me most forward in this noble presence to doom the offenders, whatsoever they be. I say, my lord, they have deserved death. Then be your eyes the witness of this ill, see how I am bewitched. Behold, mine arm is, like a blasted sapling, withered up. And this is Edward's wife, that monstrous witch, consorted with that harlot strumpet Shaw, that by their witchcraft thus have mocked me. If, thou protector of this damned strumpet, tellest thou me of ifs, thou art a traitor, off with his head. Now, by St. Paul I swear, I will not dine until I see the same. Lovell and Ratcliffe, look that it be done. The rest, that love me, rise and follow me. Exeunt all but Hastings, Ratcliffe, and Lovell. Woe for England, not a whit for me, for I, too fond, might have prevented this. Stanley did dream the Baw did raise his helm, but I disdained it, and did scorn to fly. 3 times today my footcloth hoss did stumble, and startled when he looked upon the tower, as loath to bear me to the slaughter-house. Oh, now I want the priest that spake to me. I now repent I told the pursuivant, as twere triumphing at mine enemies, how they at Pomfret bloodily were butchered, and I myself secure in grace and favour. O Margaret, now thy heavy curse is lighted on poor Hastings' wretched head. Dispatch, my lord. The Duke would be at dinner, make a short shrift. He longs to see your head. O momentary grace of mortal men, which we more hunt for than the grace of God, who builds his hopes in air of your good looks, lives like a drunken sailor on a mast, ready, with every nod, to tumble down into the fatal bowels of the deep. O bloody Richard, miserable England, I prophesy the fearfulst time to thee that ever wretched age hath looked upon. Come, lead me to the block, bear him my head, they smile at me that shortly shall be dead. Exeunt. Scene V. The Tower Walls. Come, cousin, canst thou quake and change thy colour, murder thy breath in the middle of a word, and then begin again, and stop again, as if thou wert distraught and mad with terror? Tut, I can counterfeit the deep tragedian, speak and look back and pry on every side, tremble and start at wagging of a straw, intending deep suspicion. Ghastly looks are at my service, like enforced smiles, and both are ready in their offices at any time to grace my stratagems. But what, is Catesby gone? Here is the head of that ignoble traitor, the dangerous and unsuspected Hastings. So dear I loved the man, that I must weep. I took him for the plainest harmless creature that breathed upon this earth a Christian, made him my book, wherein my soul recorded the history of all her secret thoughts. So smooth he daubed his vice with show of virtue, that, his apparent open guilt omitted, I mean, his conversation with Shaw's wife, he lived from all attainder of suspect. Well, he was the covet'st sheltered traitor that ever lived. Would you imagine, or almost believe, were it not that by great preservation, we live to tell it you, the subtle traitor this day had plotted, in the council house to murder me and my good lord of Gloucester? What, think you we are Turks or infidels? Or that we would, against the form of law, proceed thus rashly to the villain's death, but that the extreme peril of the case, the peace of England and our person's safety, enforced us to this execution? Now, fair befall you. He deserved his death, and you, my good lords, both have well proceeded to warn false traitors from the like attempts. I never looked for better at his hands, after he once fell in with Mistress Shaw. Yet had not we determined he should die, until your lordship came to see his death, which now the loving haste of these our friends, somewhat against our meaning, have prevented. Because, my lord, we would have had you heard the traitor speak, and timorously confess the manner and the purpose of his treason, that you might well have signified the same unto the citizens, who haply may misconstrue us in him, and wail his death. But, my good lord, your grace's word shall serve, as well as I had seen and heard him speak. And doubt you not, right noble princes both, but I'll acquaint our duteous citizens with all your just proceedings in this cause. And to that end we wished your lordship here, to avoid the copping censures of the world. But since you come too late of our intents, yet witness what you hear we did intend. And so, my good Lord Mayor, we bid farewell. Exit Mayor. Go after, cousin Buckingham. The Mayor towards Guildhall hies him in all post. There, at your meetst advantage of the time, infer the bastardy of Edward's children. Tell them how Edward put to death a citizen, only for saying he would make his son heir to the crown, meaning indeed his house, which, by the sign thereof, was termed so. Moreover, urge his hateful luxury, and bestial appetite in change of lust, which stretched to their servants, daughters, wives, even where his lustful eye or savage heart, without control, listed to make his prey. Nay, for a need, thus far come near my person, tell them, when that my mother went with child of that unsatiate Edward, noble York my princely father then had was in France, and by just computation of the time, found that the issue was not his begot, which well appeared in his lineaments, being nothing like the noble Duke my father. But touch this sparingly, as 'twere far off, because you know, my lord, my mother lives. Fear not, my lord, I'll play the orator as if the golden fee for which I plead were for myself, and so, my lord, adieu. If you thrive well, bring them to Baynard's castle, where you shall find me well accompanied with reverend fathers and well-learned bishops. I go, and towards 3 or 4 o'clock look for the news that the Guildhall affords. Exit. Go, Lovell, with all speed to Dr. Shaw, to Catesby. Go thou to Friar Penka, bid them both meet me within this hour at Baynard's castle. Exeunt all but Gloucester. Now will I in, to take some privy order, to draw the brats of Clarence out of sight, and to give notice that no manner of person at any time have recourse unto the princes. Exit. Scene vi the same. This is the indictment of the good Lord Hastings, which in a set hand fairly is engrossed, that it may be this day read over in Paul's, and mark how well the sequel hangs together. 11 hours I spent to write it over, for yesternight by Catesby was it brought me, the precedent was full as long a doing, and yet within these 5 hours lived Lord Hastings, untainted, unexamined, free at liberty. Here's a good world the while. Why, who so gross that seeth not this palpable device? Yet who so blind but says he sees it not? Bad is the world, and all will come to naught when such bad dealings must be seen in thought. Exit. Scene Roman 7 Baynard's castle. Now, by the Holy Mother of our Lord, the citizens are mum and speak not a word. I did with his contract with Lady Lucy, and his contract by deputy in France, the insatiate greediness of his desires, and his enforcement of the city wives, his tyranny for trifles, his own bastardy, as being got, your father then in France, his resemblance being not like the Duke, withal I did infer your lineaments being the right idea of your father, both in your form and nobleness of mind, laid open all your victories in Scotland, your discipline in war, wisdom in peace, your bounty, virtue, fair humility, indeed, left nothing fitting for the purpose untouched, or slightly handled, in discourse. And when mine oratory grew to an end, I bid them that did love their country's good cry, God save Richard, England's royal king. No, so God help me, they spake not a word, but like dumb statues or breathing stones, gazed each on other, and looked deadly pale, which when I saw, I reprehended them, and asked the mayor what meant this wilful silence. His answer was, the people were not wont to be spoke to but by the recorder. Then he was urged to tell my tale again. Thus saith the Duke, thus hath the Duke infared. But nothing spake in warrant from himself. When he had done, some followers of mine own, at the lower end of the hall, hurled up their caps, and some 10 voices cried, God save King Richard. And thus I took the vantage of those few. Thanks, gentle citizens and friends, quoth I. This general applause and loving shout argues your wisdoms and your love to Richard, and even here brake off and came away. The mayor is here at hand, intend some fear, be not you spoke with, but by mighty suit, and look you get a prayer book in your hand, and stand betwixt 2 churchmen, good my lord. For on that ground I'll build a holy descant, and be not easily won to our request, play the maid's pot, still answer nay, and take it, I go, and if you plead as well for them as I can say nay to thee for myself, no doubt we'll bring it to a happy issue. Welcome, my lord, I dance attendance here. I think the Duke will not be spoke withal. Here comes his servant. How now, Catesby, what says he? My lord, he doth entreat your grace to visit him tomorrow or next day. He is within, with 2 right reverend fathers, divinely bent to meditation, and no worldly suit would he be moved, to draw him from his holy exercise. Return, good Catesby, to thy lord again. Tell him myself, the mayor and citizens, in deep designs and matters of great moment, no less imparting than our general good, are come to have some conference with his grace. Ah, ha, my lord, this prince is not an Edward. He is not lolling on a lewd daybed, but on his knees at meditation, not dallying with a brace of courtesans, but meditating with two deep divines, not sleeping, to engross his idle body, but praying, to enrich his watchful soul. Happy were England, would this gracious prince take on himself the sovereignty thereof. But sure, I fear, we shall ne'er win him to it. My lord, he wonders to what end you have assembled such troops of citizens to speak with him, his grace not being won thereof before. My lord, he fears you mean no good to him. Sorry I am my noble cousin should suspect me, that I mean no good to him. By heaven, I come in perfect love to him, and so once more return and tell his grace. Exit Catesby. When holy and devout religious men are at their beads, 'tis hard to draw them thence, so sweet is zealous contemplation. Two props of virtue for Christian prince, to stay him from the fall of vanity, and see, a book of prayer in his hand, true ornaments to know a holy man. Famous Plantagenet, most gracious prince, lend favorable ears to our request, and pardon us the interruption of thy devotion and right Christian zeal. My lord, there needs no such apology. I rather do beseech you pardon me, who, earnest in the service of my God, neglect the visitation of my friends. But leaving this, what is your grace's pleasure? Even that, I hope, which pleaseth God above, and all good men of this ungoverned isle. I do suspect I have done some offense that seems disgracious in the city's eyes, and that you come to reprehend my ignorance. You have, my lord. Would it might please your grace at our entreaties to amend that fault? Then know, it is your fault that you resign the supreme seat, the throne majestical, the sceptred office of your ancestors, your state of fortune and your due of birth, the lineal glory of your royal house, to the corruption of a blemished stock, whilst, in the mildness of your sleepy thoughts, which here we waken to our country's good, this noble isle doth want her proper limbs, her face defaced with scars of infamy, her royal stock graft with ignoble plants, and almost shouldered in the swallowing gulf of blind forgetfulness and dark oblivion. Which to recure, we heartily solicit your gracious self to take on you the charge and kingly government of this your land, not as protector, steward, substitute, or lowly factor for another's gain, but as successively from blood to blood, your right of birth, your empery, your own. For this, consorted with the citizens, your very worshipful and loving friends, and by their vehement instigation, in this just suit come I to move your grace. I know not whether to depart in silence, or bitterly to speak in your reproof, best fitteth my degree or your condition. If not to answer, you might haply think tongue-tied ambition, not replying, yielded to bear the golden yoke of sovereignty, which fondly you would here impose on me. If to reprove you for this suit of yours, so seasoned with your faithful love to me, then, on the other side, I checked my friends. Therefore, to speak, and to avoid the first, and then in speaking, not to incur the last, definitively thus I answer you. Your love deserves my thanks, but my desert unmeritable shuns your high request. First, if all obstacles were cut away, and that my path were even to the crown, as my ripe revenue and due by birth, yet so much is my poverty of spirit, so mighty and so many my defects, as I had rather hide me from my greatness, being a bark to brook no mighty sea, than in my greatness covet to be hid, and in the vapor of my glory smothered. But God be thanked, there's no need of me, and much I need to help you, if need were. The royal tree hath left us royal fruit, which, mellowed by the stealing hours of time, will well become the seat of majesty, and make, no doubt, us happy by his reign. On him I lay what you would lay on me, the right and fortune of his happy stars, which God defend that I should wring from him. My lord, this argues conscience in your grace, but the respects thereof are nice and trivial, all circumstances well considered. You say that Edward is your brother's son, so say we too, but not by Edward's wife, for first he was contract to Lady Lucy, your mother lives a witness to that vow, and afterward by substitute betrothed to Bona, sister to the King of France. These both put by, a poor petitioner, a care-crazed mother of a many children, a beauty-waning and distressed widow, even in the afternoon of her best days, made prize and purchase of his lustful eye, seduced the pitch and height of all his thoughts to base declension, and loathed bigamy. By her, in his unlawful bed, he got this Edward, whom our manners term the prince. More bitterly could I expostulate, save that, for reverence to some alive, I give a sparing limit to my tongue. Then, good my lord, take to your royal self this proffered benefit of dignity, if not to bless us in the land withal, yet to draw forth your noble ancestry from the corruption of abusing times, unto a lineal true-derived cause. Alas, why would you heap these cares on me? I am unfit for state and majesty. I do beseech you, take it not amiss, I cannot nor I will not yield to you. If you refuse it, as in love and zeal, loath to depose the child, your brother's son, as well we know your tenderness of heart and gentle, kind, effeminate remorse, which we have noted in you to your kin, and eggally indeed to all estates. Yet whether you accept our suit or no, your brother's son shall never reign our king, but we will plant some other in the throne, to the disgrace and downfall of your house, and in this resolution here we leave you. Come, citizens, zounds, I'll entreat no more. Would you enforce me to a world of care? Well, call them again. I am not made of stones, but penetrable to your kind entreats, albeit against my conscience and my soul. Cousin of Buckingham, and you sage, grave men, since you will buckle fortune on my back, to bear her burthen, whether I will or no. I must have patience to endure the load. But if black scandal or foul-faced reproach attend the sequel of your imposition, your mere enforcement shall acquittance me from all the impure blots and stains thereof. For God he knows, and you may partly see, how far I am from the desire thereof. Then I salute you with this kingly title, Long live Richard, England's royal king. Tomorrow, then, we will attend your grace, and so most joyfully we take our leave. Come, let us to our holy task again. Farewell, good cousin, farewell, gentle friends, exeunt. Act Roman 4 scene I before the tower. Who meets us here? My niece Plantagenet led in the hand of her kind aunt of Gloucester. Now, for my life, she's wandering to the tower, on pure heart's love to greet the tender princes. Daughter, well met. God give your graces both a happy and a joyful time of day. No farther than the tower, and, as I guess, upon the like devotion as yourselves, to gratulate the gentle princes there. And in good time, here the lieutenant comes. Master Lieutenant, pray you, by your leave, how doth the prince and my young son of York? Right well, dear madam. By your patience I may not suffer you to visit them. The king hath straitly charged the contrary. The Lord protect him from that kingly title. Hath he set bounds betwixt their love and me? I am their mother. Who should keep me from them? Their aunt I am in law, in love their mother. Then bring me to their sights. I'll bear thy blame and take thy office from thee, on my peril. No, madam, no, I may not leave it so. I am bound by oath, and therefore pardon me. Exit. Let me but meet you ladies 1 hour hence, and I'll salute your grace of York as mother, and reverend looker-on, of 2 fair queens. To Anne. Come, madam, you must straight to Westminster, there to be crowned Richard's royal queen. Oh, cut my lace in sunder, that my pent heart may have some scope to beat, or else I swoon with this dead-killing news. O Dorset, speak not to me. Get thee hence. Death and destruction dog thee at the heels. Thy mother's name is ominous to children. If thou wilt outstrip death, go cross the seas and live with Richmond, from the reach of hell. Go, hie thee from the slaughter-house, lest thou increase the number of the dead, and make me die the thrall of Margaret's curse, nor mother, wife, nor England's counted queen. Full of wise care is this your counsel, madam. Take all the swift advantage of the hours. You shall have letters from me to my son to meet you on the way, and welcome you. Be not ta'en toddy by unwise delay. O ill-dispersing wind of misery! O my accursed womb, the bed of death! A cockatrice haste thou hatched to the world, whose unavoided eye is murderous. And I in all unwillingness will go. I would to God that the inclusive verge of golden metal that must round my brow were red-hot steel, to sear me to the brain. Anointed let me be with deadly venom, and die. And men can say, God save the Queen. Go, go, poor soul, I envy not thy glory. To feed my humour, wish thyself no harm. No, why? When he that is my husband now came to me, as I followed Henry's cause, when scarce the blood was well washed from his hands, which issued from my other angel husband and that dead saint, which then I weeping followed. Oh, when I say, I looked on Richard's face, this was my wish. Be thou, quoth I, accursed for making me so young, so old a widow, and when thou wedst, let sorrow haunt thy bed, and be thy wife, if any be so mad, as miserable by the life of thee, as thou hast made me by my dear lord's death. Lo, ere I can repeat this curse again, even in so short a space, my woman's heart grossly grew captive to his honey words, and proved the subject of my own soul's curse, which ever since hath kept my eyes from rest. For never yet 1 hour in his bed have I enjoyed the golden dew of sleep, but have been waked by his timorous dreams. Besides, he hates me for my father Warwick, and will, no doubt, shortly be rid of me. To Dorset. Go thou to Richmond, and good fortune guide thee. To Anne. Go thou to Richard, and good angels guard thee. To Queen Elizabeth. Go thou to sanctuary, and good thoughts possess thee. I to my grave, where peace and rest lie with me. 80 odd years of sorrow have I seen, and each hour's joy wrecked with a week of teen. Stay, yet look back with me unto the tower. Pity, you ancient stones, those tender babes whom envy hath immured within your walls. Rough cradle for such little pretty ones. Rude ragged nurse, old sullen playfellow for tender princes, use my babies well. So foolish sorrow bids your stones farewell. Exeunt. Scene room into London. The palace, give me thy hand. Here he ascendeth his throne. Thus high, by thy advice and thy assistance, is King Richard seated. But shall we wear these honours for a day? Or shall they last, and we rejoice in them? O Buckingham, now do I play the touch, to try if thou be current gold indeed. Young Edward lives. Think now what I would say. O bitter consequence that Edward still should live. True, noble prince. Cousin, thou wert not wont to be so dull, shall I be plain? I wish the bastard's dead, and I would have it suddenly performed. What sayest thou? Speak suddenly, be brief. Tut, tut, thou art all ice, thy kindness freezeth, say, have I thy consent that they shall die? Give me some breath, some little pause, my lord, before I positively speak herein. I will resolve your grace immediately. Exit. I will converse with iron-witted fools and unrespective boys. None are for me that look into me with considerate eyes. High-reaching Buckingham grows circumspect. Boy, know'st thou not any whom corrupting gold would tempt unto a close exploit of death? My lord, I know a discontented gentleman, whose humble means match not his haughty mind. Gold were as good as 20 orators, and will, no doubt, tempt him to anything. I potly know the man. Go, call him hither. Exit page. The deep-revolving, witty Buckingham no more shall be the neighbour to my counsel. Hath he so long held out with me untired, and stops he now for breath? My lord, I hear the Marquis d'Osset's fled to Richmond, in those parts beyond the sea where he abides. Stands apart. Rumour it abroad that Anne, my wife, is sick and like to die. I will take order for her keeping close. Inquire me out some mean bond gentleman, whom I will marry straight to Clarence's daughter. The boy is foolish, and I fear not him. Look, how thou dream'st, I say again. Give out that Anne my wife is sick and like to die, about it, for it stands me much upon, to stop all hopes whose growth may damage me. Exit Catesby. I must be married to my brother's daughter, or else my kingdom stands on brittle glass. Murder her brothers, and then marry her? Uncertain way of gain. But I am in so far in blood that sin will pluck on sin. Tear-falling pity dwells not in this eye. Ay, my lord, but I had rather kill 2 enemies. Why there thou haste it? 2 deep enemies, foes to my rest and my sweet sleep's disturbers are they that I would have thee deal upon. Tyrrel, I mean those bastards in the tower. Let me have open means to come to them, and soon I'll rid you from the fear of them. Thou sing'st sweet music. Hawk, come hither, Tyrrel. Go, by this token. Rise and lend thine ear, whispers. There is no more but so. Say it is done, and I will love thee, and prefer thee too. My lord, I have considered in my mind the late demand that you did sound me in. My lord, I claim your gift, my due by promise, for which your honour and your faith is pawned, the earldom of Hereford and the movables the which you promised I should possess. Stanley, look to your wife. If she convey letters to Richmond, you shall answer it. As I remember, Henry VI did prophesy that Richmond should be king, when Richmond was a little peevish boy. A king, perhaps how chanced the prophet could not at that time have told me, I being by, that I should kill him? Richmond? When last I was at Exeter, the mayor in courtesy showed me the castle, and called it Rougemont, at which name I started, because a bard of Ireland told me once, I should not live long after I saw Richmond. I am thus bold to put your grace in mind of what you promised me, because that, like a jack, thou keep'st the stroke betwixt thy begging and my meditation. I am not in the giving vein today. Tut, tut, thou troublest me, am not in the vein. Exeunt all but Buckingham. Is it even so? Rewards he my true service with such deep contempt? Made I him king for this? Oh, let me think on Hastings and be gone to Brecknock while my fearful head is on. Exit. Scene room in 3 the same. The tyrannous and bloody deed is done, the most arch of piteous massacre that ever yet this land was guilty of. Dighton and Forrest, whom I did sub on to do this ruthless piece of butchery, although they were fleshed villains, bloody dogs, melting with tenderness and kind compassion, wept like 2 children in their death's sad stories. Lo, thus, quoth Dighton, lay those tender babes. Thus, quoth Forrest, girdling one another within their innocent alabaster arms, their lips were far red roses on a stalk, which in their summer beauty kissed each other. A book of prayers on their pillow lay, which once, quoth Forrest, almost changed my mind, but oh, the devil, there the villains stopped, whilst Dighton thus told on. We smothered the most replenished sweet work of nature, that from the prime creation ere she framed. Thus both are gone with conscience and remorse, they could not speak, and so I left them both to bring this tidings to the bloody king. And here he comes. If to have done the thing you gave in charge beget your happiness, be happy then, for it is done, my lord. The chaplain of the tower hath buried them, but how or in what place I do not know. Come to me, Tyrrell, soon at after supper, and thou shalt tell the process of their death. Meantime, but think how I may do thee good, and be inheritor of thy desire. Farewell till soon. Exit Tyrrell. The son of Clarence have I pent up close, his daughter meanly have I matched in marriage. The sons of Edward sleep in Abraham's bosom, and Anne my wife hath bid the world good night. Now, for I know the Breton Richmond aims at young Elizabeth, my brother's daughter, and by that knot looks proudly o'er the crown, to her I go, a jolly thriving wooer. Bad news, my lord. Ely is fled to Richmond, and Buckingham, backed with the haughty Welshman, is in the field, and still his power increaseth. Ely with Richmond troubles me more near than Buckingham and his rash-levied army. Come, I have heard that fearful commenting is leaden servitor to dull delay. Delay leads impotent and snail-paced beggary. Then fiery expedition be my wing, Jove's Mercury, and herald for a king? Come, muster men. My counsel is my shield. We must be brief when traitors brave the field. Exeunt. Scene Roman far before the palace. So now prosperity begins to mellow and drop into the rotten mouth of death. Here in these confines slyly have I lurked to watch the waning of mine adversaries. A dire induction am I witness to, and will to France, hoping the consequence will prove as bitter, black, and tragical. Withdraw thee, wretched Margaret. Who comes here? Ah, my young princes, ah, my tender babes, my unblown flowers, new-appearing sweets, if yet your gentle souls fly in the air and be not fixed in doom perpetual, hover about me with your airy wings and hear your mother's lamentation. Hover about her, say, that right for right hath dimmed your infant morn to aged night. So many miseries have crazed my voice, that my woe-wearied tongue is mute and dumb. Edward Plantagenet, why art thou dead? Plantagenet doth quit Plantagenet. Edward for Edward pays a dying debt. Wilt thou, O God, fly from such gentle lambs and throw them in the entrails of the wolf? When didst thou sleep when such a deed was done? Blind sight, dead life, poor mortal living ghost, woes seen, world's shame, graves due by life usurped, brief abstract and record of tedious days. Rest thy unrest on England's lawful earth, sitting down, unlawfully made drunk with innocent's blood. Oh, that thou wouldst as well afford a grave as thou canst yield a melancholy seat, then would I hide my bones, not rest them here. Oh, who hath any cause to mourn but I, sitting down by her? If ancient sorrow be most reverend, give mine the benefit of seniority, and let my woes frown on the upper hand. If sorrow can admit society, sitting down with them. Tell all your woes again by viewing mine. I had an Edward till a Richard killed him. I had a Harry till a Richard killed him. Thou hadst an Edward till a Richard killed him. Thou hadst a Richard till a Richard killed him. I had a Richard too, and thou didst kill him. I had a Rutland too, thou holpst to kill him. Thou hadst a Clarence too, and Richard killed him. From forth the kennel of thy womb hath crept a hellhound that doth hunt us all to death, that dog, that had his teeth before his eyes, to worry lambs and lap their gentle blood, that foul defacer of God's handiwork, that excellent grand tyrant of the earth, that reigns in galled eyes of weeping souls, thy womb let loose, to chase us to our graves. O upright, just, and true-disposing God, how do I thank thee, that this carnal cur preys on the issue of his mother's body, and makes her pew-fellow with others' moan. O Harry's wife, triumph not in my woes. God witness with me, I have wept for thine. Bear with me, I am hungry for revenge, and now I cloy me with beholding it. Thy Edward he is dead, that stabbed my Edward, thy other Edward dead, to quit my Edward. Young York he is but boot, because both they match not the high perfection of my loss. Thy Clarence he is dead that killed my Edward. And the beholders of this tragic play, the adulterate Hastings, Rivers, Vaughan, Grey, untimely smothered in their dusky graves. Richard yet lives, hell's black intelligencer only reserved their factor, to buy souls and send them thither. But at hand, ensues his piteous and unpitied end, earth gapes, hell burns, fiends raw, saints pray, to have him suddenly conveyed away. Cancel his bond of life, dear God, I pray, that I may live to say, the dog is dead. Oh, thou didst prophesy the time would come that I should wish for thee to help me curse that bottled spider, that foul bunch-backed toad. I called thee then vain flourish of my fortune. I called thee then poor shadow, painted queen, the presentation of but what I was, the flattering index of a direful pageant, one heaved high, to be hurled down below, a mother only mocked with two sweet babes, a dream of what thou wert, a breath, a bubble, a sign of dignity, a garish flag, to be the aim of every dangerous shot, a queen in jest, only to fill the scene. Where is thy husband now? Where be thy brothers? Where are thy children? Wherein dost thou joy? Who sues to thee and cries, God save the Queen? Where be the bending peers that flattered thee? Where be the thronging troops that followed thee? Decline all this, and see what now thou art, for happy wife, a most distressed widow, for joyful mother, one that wails the name, for queen, a very caitiff crowned with care, for one being sued to, one that humbly sues, for one that scorned at me, now scorned of me, for one being feared of all, now fearing one, for one commanding all, obeyed of none. Thus hath the cause of justice wheeled about, and left thee but a very prey to time, having no more but thought of what thou wert, to torture thee the more, being what thou art. Thou didst usurp my place, and dost thou not usurp the just proportion of my sorrow? Now thy proud neck bears half my burthened yoke, from which even here I slip my weary neck, and leave the burthen of it all on thee. Farewell, York's wife, and queen of sad mischance, these English woes will make me smile in France. O thou well skilled in curses, stay a while, and teach me how to curse mine enemies? Forbear to sleep the nights and fast the days, compare dead happiness with living woe. Think that thy babes were fairer than they were, and he that slew them fouler than he is. Bettering thy loss makes the bad cause worse. Revolving this will teach thee how to curse. Windy attorneys to their client woes, airy succeeders of intestate joys, poor breathing orators of miseries. Let them have scope, though what they do impart help not all, yet do they ease the heart. If so, then be not tongue-tied. Go with me, and in the breath of bitter words let's smother my damned son, which thy two sweet sons smothered. I hear his drum, be copious and exclaims, Oh, she that might have intercepted thee, by strangling thee in her accursed womb, from all the slaughters, wretch, that thou hast done, hidest thou that forehead with a golden crown, where should be graven, if that right were right, the slaughter of the prince that owed that crown, and the dire death of my two sons and brothers. Tell me, thou villain slave, where are my children? Thou toad, where is thy brother Clarence? And little Ned Plantagenet, his son? A flourish, trumpets, strike alarum, drums. Let not the heavens hear these telltale women rail on the Lord's anointed. Strike, I say, flourish, alarums. Either be patient, and entreat me fair, or with the clamorous report of war thus will I drown your exclamations. Madam, I have a touch of your condition, which cannot brook the accent of reproof. Art thou so hasty? I have stayed for thee, God knows, in anguish, pain, and agony. No, by the holy rood, thou know'st it well, thou camest on earth to make the earth my hell. A grievous burthen was thy birth to me, tetchy and wayward was thy infancy, thy school days frightful, desperate, wild and furious, thy prime of manhood daring, bold and venturous, thy age confirmed, proud, subdued, bloody, treacherous, more mild, but yet more harmful, kind in hatred. What comfortable hour canst thou name that ever graced me in thy company? Faith none, but Humphrey hour, that called your grace to breakfast once forth of my company. If I be so disgracious in your sight, let me march on, and not offend your grace. Strike the drum. Hear me a word, for I shall never speak to thee again. Either thou wilt die, by God's just ordinance, ere from this war thou turn a conqueror, or I with grief and extreme age shall perish and never look upon thy face again. Therefore take with thee my most heavy curse, which, in the day of battle, tire thee more than all the complete armor that thou wearest. My prayers on the adverse party fight, and that the little souls of Edward's children whisper the spirits of thine enemies, and promise them success and victory. Bloody thou art, bloody will be thy end, shame serves thy life, and doth thy death attend. Exit. Though far more cause, yet much less spirit to curse abides in me, I say amen to all. I have no more sons of the royal blood for thee to murder. For my daughters, Richard, they shall be praying nuns, not weeping queens, and therefore level not to hit their lives. You have a daughter called Elizabeth, virtuous and fair, royal and gracious. And must she die for this? Oh, let her live, and I'll corrupt her manners, stain her beauty, slander myself as false to Edward's bed, throw over her the veil of infamy, so she may live unscathed of bleeding slaughter. I will confess she was not Edward's daughter. True, when avoided grace makes destiny, my babes were destined to a fairer death, if grace had blessed thee with a fairer life. Cousins, indeed, and by their uncle cozened of comfort, kingdom, kindred, freedom, life. Whose hand soever launched their tender hearts thy head, all indirectly, gave direction. No doubt the murderous knife was dull and blunt till it was whetted on thy stone-hard heart, to revel in the entrails of my lambs. But that still use of grief makes wild grief tame. My tongue should to thy ears not name my boys till that my nails were anchored in thine eyes. And I, in such a desperate bay of death, like a poor bark, of sails and tackling reft, rush all to pieces on thy rocky bosom. Madam, so thrive I in my enterprise and dangerous success of bloody wars, as I intend more good to you and yours than ever you or yours were by me wronged. What good is covered with the face of heaven, to be discovered, that can do me good? No, to the dignity and height of honor, the high imperial type of this earth's glory. Flatter my sorrows with report of it. Tell me what state, what dignity, what honor, canst thou demise to any child of mine? Even all I have, yea, and myself and all, will I withal endow a child of thine. So in the leath of thy angry soul, thou drown the sad remembrance of those wrongs, which thou supposest I have done to thee. Be brief, lest that be process of thy kindness lost longer telling than thy kindness date, that thou dost love my daughter from thy soul, so from thy soul's love didst thou love her brothers, and from my heart's love I do thank thee for it. Be not so hasty to confound my meaning. I mean, that with my soul I love thy daughter, and mean to make her Queen of England. That would I learn of you, as one that are best acquainted with her humour. Send to her, by the man that slew her brothers, a pair of bleeding hearts, thereon engrave Edward and York, then haply she will weep, therefore present to her, as sometime Margaret did to thy father, steeped in Rutland's blood, a handkerchief, which, say to her, did drain the purple sap from her sweet brother's body, and bid her dry her weeping eyes therewith. If this inducement force her not to love, send her a story of thy noble acts. Tell her thou madest away her uncle Clarence, her uncle Rivers, yea, and for her sake, madest quick conveyance with her good aunt Anne. Come, come, you mock me. This is not the way to win our daughter. There is no other way, unless thou couldst put on some other shape, and not be Richard that hath done all this. Nay, then indeed she cannot choose but hate thee, having bought love with such a bloody spoil. Look, what is done cannot be now amended. Men shall deal unadvisedly sometimes, which after hours give leisure to repent. If I did take the kingdom from your sons, to make amends, I'll give it to your daughter. If I have killed the issue of your womb, to quicken your increase, I will beget mine issue of your blood upon your daughter. A grandam's name is little less in love than is the doting title of a mother. They are as children but one step below, even of your metal, of your very blood, of all one pain, save for a night of groans endured of her, for whom you bid like sorrow. Your children were vexation to your youth, but mine shall be a comfort to your age. The loss you have is but a son being king, and by that loss your daughter is made queen. I cannot make you what amends I would, therefore accept such kindness as I can. Dorset your son, that with a fearful soul leads discontented steps in foreign soil, this fair alliance quickly shall call home to high promotions and great dignity. The king, that calls your beauteous daughter wife, familiarly shall call thy Dorset brother. Again shall you be mother to a king, and all the ruins of distressful times repaired with double riches of content. What? We have many goodly days to see. The liquid drops of tears that you have shed shall come again, transformed to orient pearl, advantaging their loan with interest of 10 times double gain of happiness. Go, then, my mother, to thy daughter go. Make bold her bashful years with your experience, prepare her ears to hear a wooer's tale, put in her tender heart the aspiring flame of golden sovereignty. Acquaint the princess with the sweet silent hours of marriage joys, and when this arm of mine hath chastised the petty rebel, dull-brained Buckingham, bound with triumphant garlands will I come and lead thy daughter to a conqueror's bed, to whom I will retail my conquest won, and she shall be sole victress, Caesar's Caesar. What were I best to say? Her father's brother would be her lord, or shall I say her uncle? Or he that slew her brothers and her uncles? Under what title shall I woo for thee that God, the law, my honor and her love, can make seem pleasing to her tender years? Oh no, my reasons are too deep and dead, poor infants in their grave. By nothing, for this is no oath. The Judge, profaned, hath lost his holy honor. The Gata, blemished, pawned his knightly virtue. The crown, usurped, disgraced his kingly glory. If something thou wilt swear to be believed, swear then by something that thou hast not wronged. God's wrong is most of all. If thou hadst feared to break an oath by him, the unity the king thy brother made had not been broken, nor my brother slain. If thou hadst feared to break an oath by him, the imperial metal, circling now thy brow, had graced the tender temples of my child, and both the princes had been breathing here, which now, too tender playfellows to dust, thy broken faith hath made a prey for worms. What canst thou swear by now? That thou hast wronged in the time past, for I myself have many tears to wash hereafter time, for time past wronged by thee. The children live, whose parents thou hast slaughtered, ungoverned youth, to wail it in their age, the parents live, whose children thou hast butchered, old withered plants to wail it with their age. Swear not by time to come, For that thou haste misused ere used, by time misused are past. As I intend to prosper and repent, so thrive I in my dangerous attempt of hostile arms. Myself confound. Heaven and fortune bar me happy hours. Day, yield me not thy light. Nor, night, thy rest. Be opposite all planets of good luck to my proceedings, if, with pure heart's love, immaculate devotion, holy thoughts, I tender not thy beauteous princely daughter. In her consists my happiness and thine. Without her, follows to this land and me to thee, herself, and many a Christian soul, death, desolation, ruin, and decay. It cannot be avoided but by this, it will not be avoided but by this. Therefore, good mother, I must, can you so, be the attorney of my love to her, plead what I will be, not what I have been, not my deserts, but what I will deserve, urge the necessity and state of times, and be not peevish fond in great designs. But in your daughter's womb I bury them, where in that nest of spicery they shall breed selves of themselves, to your recomfiture. I go. Write to me very shortly, and you shall understand from me her mind. Bear her my true love's kiss, and so farewell. Exit Queen Elizabeth. Relenting fool and shallow, changing woman, my gracious sovereign, on the western coast rideth a puissant navy. To the Shah throng many doubtful, hollow-hearted friends, unarmed, and unresolved to beat them back. 'Tis thought that Richmond is their admiral, and there they hull, expecting but the aid of Buckingham to welcome them ashore. Some Lightfoot friend post to the Duke of Norfolk, Ratcliffe, thyself, or Catesby. Where is he? Fly to the Duke, to Ratcliffe. Post thou to Salisbury, when thou comest thither, to Catesby. Dull, unmindful villain, why stand'st thou still, and goest not to the Duke? First, mighty sovereign, let me know your mind, what from your grace I shall deliver to him. O true, good Catesby, bid him levy straight the greatest strength and power he can make, and meet me presently at Salisbury. What is't your highness' pleasure I shall do at Salisbury? None good, my lord, to please you with the hearing, nor none so bad, but it may well be told. Hoyday, a riddle, neither good nor bad. Why dost thou run so many mile about, when thou mayst tell thy tale a nearer way? Once more, what news? They let him sink, and be the seas on him. White-livered runagate, what doth he there? Stirred up by Dorset, Buckingham, and Ely, he makes for England there to claim the crown. Is the chair empty? Is the sod unswayed? Is the king dead? The empire unpossessed? What heir of York is there alive but we? And who is England's king but great York's heir? Then tell me, what doth he upon the sea? Unless for that he comes to be your liege, you cannot guess wherefore the Welshman comes. Thou wilt revolt and fly to him, I fear. Where is thy power, then, to beat him back? Where are thy tenants and thy followers? Are they not now upon the western shore, safe conducting the rebels from their ships, cold friends to Richard? What do they in the north, when they should serve their sovereign in the west? They have not been commanded, mighty sovereign. Please it your majesty to give me leave. I'll muster up my friends, and meet your grace where and what time your majesty shall please. Thou wouldst be gone to join with Richmond. I will not trust you, sir. Most mighty sovereign, you have no cause to hold my friendship doubtful. I never was nor never will be false. Well, go must a men, but hear you, leave behind your son, George Stanley. Look your faith be firm, or else his head's assurance is but frail. My gracious sovereign, now in Devonshire, as I by friends am well advertised, Sir Edward Courtenay, and the haughty prelate Bishop of Exeter, his brother there, with many more confederates, are in arms. My liege in Kent the Guildfords are in arms, and every hour more competitors flock to their aid, and still their power increaseth. Out on you, owls, nothing but songs of death. He striketh him. Take that, until thou bring me better news. The news I have to tell your majesty is, that by sudden floods and fall of waters, Buckingham's army is dispersed and scattered, and he himself wandered away alone, no man knows whither. I cry thee mercy. There is my purse to cure that blow of thine. Hath any well-advised friend proclaimed reward to him that brings the traitor in? Sir Thomas Lovell and Lord Marquis Dorset, 'tis said, my liege, in Yorkshire are in arms. Yet this good comfort bring I to your grace. The Breton navy is dispersed by tempest. Richmond, in Yorkshire, sent out a boat unto the Shah, to ask those on the banks if they were his assistants, yea or no. Who answered him, they came from Buckingham upon his party. He, mistrusting them, hoisted sail and made away for Brittany. March on, since we are up in arms, if not to fight with foreign enemies, yet to beat down these rebels here at home. My liege, the Duke of Buckingham is taken. That is the best news. That the Earl of Richmond is with a mighty power landed at Milford, is colder tidings, yet they must be told. Away towards Salisbury. While we reason here, a royal battle might be won and lost. Someone take aught of Buckingham be brought to Salisbury, the rest march on with me. Flourish, exeunt, Scene v. Lord Derby's house. Sir Christopher, tell Richmond this from me, that in the sty of this most bloody bar my son George Stanley is franked up in hold. If I revolt, off goes young George's head. The fear of that withholds my present aid. But tell me, where is princely Richmond now? Sir Walter Herbert, a renowned soldier, Sir Gilbert Talbot, Sir William Stanley, Oxford, redoubted Pembroke, Sir James Blunt, and Rice ap Thomas, with a valiant crew, and many more of noble fame and worth. And towards London they do bend their costs, if by the way they be not fought withal. Return unto thy lord, commend me to him, tell him the Queen hath heartily consented he shall espouse Elizabeth her daughter. These letters will resolve him of my mind. Farewell. Exeunt. Act v. Scene Salisbury, an open place. Hastings and Edward's children, Rivers, Grey, holy King Henry, and thy fair son Edward, Vaughan, and all that have miscarried by underhand corrupted foul injustice, if that your moody discontented souls do through the clouds behold this present hour, even for revenge mock my destruction? This is All Souls' Day, fellows, is it not? Why, then All Souls' Day is my body's doomsday. This is the day that, in King Edward's time, I wished might fall on me, when I was found false to his children or his wife's allies. This is the day wherein I wished to fall by the false faith of him I trusted most. This All Souls' Day to my fearful soul, is the determined respite of my wrongs. That high all-seer that I dallied with hath turned my feigned prayer on my head, and given in earnest what I begged in jest. Thus doth he force the sods of wicked men to turn their own points on their masters' bosoms. Now Margaret's curse is fallen upon my head. When he, quoth she, shall split thy heart with sorrow, remember Margaret was a prophetess. Come, sirs, convey me to the block of shame. Wrong hath but wrong, and blame the due of blame. Exeunt. Scene room into the camp near Tamworth. Fellows in arms and my most loving friends, bruised underneath the yoke of tyranny, thus far into the bowels of the land have we marched on without impediment, and here receive we from our father Stanley lines of fair comfort and encouragement. The wretched, bloody, and usurping Baw, that spoiled your summer fields and fruitful vines, swills your warm blood like wash, and makes his trough in your emboweled bosoms. This foul swine lies now, even in the centre of this isle, near to the town of Leicester, as we learn. From Tamworth thither is but 1 day's march. In God's name, cheerly on, courageous friends, to reap the harvest of perpetual peace by this one bloody trial of sharp war. Every man's conscience is 1,000 sods to fight against that bloody homicide. He hath no friends but who are friends for fear, which in his greatest need will shrink from him. All for our vantage. Then, in God's name, march. True hope is swift and flies with swallow's wings. Kings it makes gods and meaner creatures kings. Exeunt. Scene Roman 3 Bosworth Field. Here pitch our tents, even here in Bosworth Field. My lord of Surrey, why look you so sad? Up with my tent there. Here will I lie tonight, but where tomorrow? Well, all's one for that. Who hath disgrayed the number of the foe? Why, our battalion trebles that account. Besides, the king's name is a tower of strength, which they upon the adverse party want. Up with my tent there. Valiant gentlemen, let us survey the vantage of the field. Call for some men of sound direction. Let's want no discipline, make no delay. For lauds, tomorrow is a busy day. Exeunt. The weary sun hath made a golden set, and by the bright track of his fiery car, gives signal of a goodly day tomorrow. Sir William Brandon, you shall bear my standard. Give me some ink and paper in my tent. I'll draw the form and model of our battle, limit each leader to his several charge, and part in just proportion our small strength. My lord of Oxford, you, Sir William Brandon, and you, Sir Walter Herbert, stay with me. The Earl of Pembroke keeps his regiment. Good Captain Blunt, bear my good night to him, and by the 2nd hour in the morning desire the Earl to see me in my tent. Yet one thing more, good Blunt, before thou gost, where is Lord Stanley quatted, dost thou know? Unless I have mista'en his colours much, which well I am assured I have not done. His regiment lies half a mile at least south from the mighty power of the king. If without peril it be possible, good Captain Blunt, bear my good night to him, and give him for me this most needful scroll. Upon my life, my lord, I'll undertake it, and so, God give you quiet rest tonight? Good night, good Captain Blunt. Come, gentlemen, let us consult upon tomorrow's business. Into our tent. The air is raw and cold. They withdraw into the tent. It's supper time, my lord. It's 9 o'clock. I will not sup tonight. Give me some ink and paper. What, is my beaver easier than it was? And all my armour laid into my tent? Good Norfolk, hie thee to thy charge. Use careful watch. Choose trusty sentinels. Send out a pursuivant at arms to Stanley's regiment. Bid him bring his power before sunrising, lest his son George fall into the blind cave of eternal night. Exit Catesby. Fill me a bowl of wine, give me a watch. Saddle white Surrey for the field tomorrow. Look that my staves be sound and not too heavy. Ratcliffe, Thomas the Earl of Surrey and himself, much about cockshut time, from troop to troop went through the army, cheering up the soldiers. So I am satisfied. Give me a bowl of wine, I have not that alacrity of spirit nor cheer of mind that I was wont to have. Set it down. Is ink and paper ready? Bid my God watch, leave me. Ratcliffe, about the mid of night come to my tent and help to arm me. Leave me, I say, exeunt Ratcliffe and the other attendants. All comfort that the dark night can afford be to thy person, noble father-in-law. Tell me, how fares our loving mother? I, by attorney, bless thee from thy mother, who prays continually for Richmond's good, so much for that. The silent hours steal on, and flaky darkness breaks within the east. In brief, for so the season bids us be, prepare thy battle early in the morning, and put thy fortune to the arbitrament of bloody strokes and mortal staring war. I, as I may, that which I would I cannot, with best advantage will deceive the time, and aid thee in this doubtful shock of arms. But on thy side I may not be too forward, lest, being seen, thy brother, tender George, be executed in his father's sight. Farewell. The leisure and the fearful time cuts off the ceremonious vows of love and ample interchange of sweet discourse, which so long sundered friends should dwell upon. God give us leisure for these rites of love. Once more, adieu, be valiant and speed well. Good lords, conduct him to his regiment. I'll strive, with troubled thoughts, to take a nap, lest leaden slumber pies me down tomorrow, when I should mount with wings of victory. Once more, good night, kind lords and gentlemen, exeunt all but Richmond. O thou, whose captain I account myself, look on my forces with a gracious eye, put in their hands thy bruising irons of wrath, that they may crush down with a heavy fall the usurping helmets of our adversaries. Make us thy ministers of chastisement, that we may praise thee in the victory. To thee I do commend my watchful soul, ere I let fall the windows of mine eyes, sleeping and waking, oh, defend me still. Sleeps, to Richard, let me sit heavy on thy soul tomorrow. Think how thou stabbedst me in my prime of youth at Tewkesbury, despair therefore and die, to Richmond. Be cheerful, Richmond, for the wronged souls of butchered princes fight in thy behalf. King Henry's issue, Richmond, comforts thee, to Richard. When I was mortal, my anointed body by thee was punched full of deadly holes. Think on the Tower and me, despair and die. Harry the Sixth bids thee despair and die, to Richmond. Virtuous and holy, be thou conqueror. Harry, that prophesied thou shouldst be king, doth comfort thee in thy sleep, live and flourish, to Richard. Let me sit heavy on thy soul tomorrow. I that was washed to death with fulsome wine, poor Clarence by thy guile betrayed to death. Tomorrow in the battle think on me, and fall thy edgeless sod, despair and die, to Richmond. Thou offspring of the house of Lancaster, the wronged heirs of York do pray for thee. Good angels guard thy battle, live and flourish, to Richard. Let me sit heavy on thy soul tomorrow, Rivers that died at Pomfret, despair and die, to Richard. Think upon Vaughan, and with guilty fear let fall thy lance, despair and die, to Richmond. Awake and think our wrongs in Richard's bosom will conquer him. Awake and win the day, to Richard. Bloody and guilty, guiltily awake, and in a bloody battle end thy days. Think on Lord Hastings, despair and die, to Richmond. Quiet, untroubled soul, awake, awake, arm, fight, and conquer for fair England's sake, to Richard. Dream on thy cousins smothered in the Tower. Let us be lead within thy bosom, Richard, and weigh thee down to ruin, shame, and death. Thy nephews' souls bid thee despair and die, to Richmond. Sleep, Richmond, sleep in peace and wake in joy. Good angels guard thee from the bars annoy. Live and beget a happy race of kings. Edward's unhappy sons do bid thee flourish, to Richard. Richard, thy wife, that wretched and thy wife, that never slept a quiet hour with thee, now fills thy sleep with perturbations. Tomorrow in the battle think on me, and fall thy edgeless sod, despair and die, to Richmond. Thou quiet soul, sleep thou a quiet sleep, dream of success and happy victory. Thy adversary's wife doth pray for thee, to Richard. The last was I that helped thee to the crown, the last was I that felt thy tyranny. Oh, in the battle think on Buckingham, and die in terror of thy guiltiness. Dream on, of bloody deeds and death, fainting, despair, despairing, yield thy breath, to Richmond. I died for hope ere I could lend thee aid, but cheer thy heart, and be thou not dismayed. God and good angel fight on Richmond's side, and Richard falls in height of all his pride. The ghosts vanish. King Richard starts out of his dream. Give me another hoss, bind up my wounds. Have mercy, Jesu, soft, I did but dream. O coward conscience, how dost thou afflict me? The lights burn blue, it is now dead midnight. Cold fearful drops stand on my trembling flesh. What do I fear? Myself, there's none else by. Richard loves Richard, that is, I am I. Is there a murderer here? No. Yes, I am, then fly. What, from myself? Great reason why, lest I revenge, what myself upon myself? Alack, I love myself. Wherefore? For any good that I myself have done unto myself? Oh no, alas, I rather hate myself for hateful deeds committed by myself. I am a villain? Yet I lie, I am not. Fool, of thyself speak well. Fool, do not flatter. My conscience hath 1,000 several tongues, and every tongue brings in a several tale, and every tale condemns me for a villain. Perjury, perjury in the highest degree, murder, stern murder in the diest degree, all several sins, all used in each degree, throng to the bar, crying all guilty, guilty. I shall despair. There is no creature loves me, and if I die, no soul shall pity me. Nay, wherefore should they, since that I myself find in myself no pity to myself? Methought the souls of all that I had murdered came to my tent, and every one did threat tomorrow's vengeance on the head of Richard. Ratcliffe, my lord, 'tis I. The early village cock hath twice done salutation to the mon, your friends are up and buckle on their armour. O Ratcliffe, I have dreamed a fearful dream. What thinkest thou? Will our friends prove all true? By the Apostle Paul, shadows tonight have struck more terror to the soul of Richard than can the substance of 10,000 soldiers armed in proof, and led by shallow Richmond. It is not yet near day. Come, go with me. Under our tents I'll play the eavesdropper, to see if any mean to shrink from me. Exeunt. Cry mercy, lauds and watchful gentlemen, that you have ta'en a tardy sluggard here. The sweetest sleep, and fairest boding dreams that ever entered in a drowsy head, have I since your departure had, my lords. Methought their souls, whose bodies Richard murdered, came to my tent, and cried on victory. I promise you, my soul is very jocund in the remembrance of so fair a dream. How far into the morning is it, lords? More than I have said, loving countrymen, the leisure and enforcement of the time forbids to dwell upon. Yet remember this, God and our good cause fight upon our side. The prayers of holy saints and wronged souls, like high-reared bulwarks, stand before our faces. Richard except, those whom we fight against had rather have us win than him they follow, for what is he they follow? Truly, gentlemen, a bloody tyrant and a homicide, one raised in blood and one in blood established, one that made means to come by what he hath, and slaughtered those that were the means to help him. A base foul stone, made precious by the foil of England's chair, where he is falsely set, one that hath ever been God's enemy. Then, if you fight against God's enemy, God will in justice ward you as his soldiers. If you do sweat to put a tyrant down, you sleep in peace, the tyrant being slain. If you do fight against your country's foes, your country's fat shall pay your pains the higher. If you do fight in safeguard of your wives shall welcome home the conquerors. If you do free your children from the sod, your children's children quit it in your age. Then, in the name of God and all these rights, advance your standards, draw your willing swords. For me, the ransom of my bold attempt shall be this cold copse on the earth's cold face, but if I thrive, the gain of my attempt the least of you shall share his pot thereof. Sound drums and trumpets boldly and cheerfully. God and St. George, Richmond and victory, exeunt. He was in the right, and so indeed it is. Clock striketh. 10 the clock there. Give me a calendar. Who saw the sun today? Then he disdains to shine, for by the book he should have braved the east an hour ago. A black day will it be to somebody. Ratcliffe, the sun will not be seen today. The sky doth frown and lure upon our army. I would these dewy tears were from the ground. Not shine today? Why, what is that to me more than to Richmond? For the self-same heaven that frowns on me looks sadly upon him. Come, bustle, bustle. Caparison my horse. Call up Lord Stanley, bid him bring his power. I will lead forth my soldiers to the plain, and thus my battle shall be ordered. My forward shall be drawn out all in length, consisting equally of horse and foot. Our archers shall be placed in the midst. John Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Earl of Surrey, shall have the leading of this foot and horse. They thus directed, we will follow in the main battle, whose puissance on either side shall be well winged with our chiefest horse. This, and St. George to boot. What thinkst thou, Norfolk? A good direction, warlike sovereign. This found I on my tent this morning. He showeth him a paper. Reads, Jockey of Norfolk, be not too bold, for Dickon thy master is bought and sold. A thing devised by the enemy. Go, gentlemen, every man unto his charge, let not our babbling dreams affright our souls. Conscience is but a word that cowards use, devised at first to keep the strong in awe. Our strong arms be our conscience, swords our law. March on, join bravely, let us tot pell-mell, if not to heaven, then hand in hand to hell. What shall I say more than I have inferred? Remember whom you are to cope withal. A sort of vagabonds, rascals, and runaways, a scum of Bretons and base lackey peasants whom their ochloid country vomits forth to desperate ventures and assured destruction. You sleeping safe, they bring to you unrest. You having lands and blessed with beauteous wives, they would restrain the one, disdain the other. And who doth lead them but a paltry fellow, long kept in Bretagne at our mother's cost, a milksop, one that never in his life felt so much cold as over shoes and snow? Let's whip these stragglers o'er the seas again. Lash hence these overweening rags of France, these famished beggars, weary of their lives, who, but for dreaming on this fond exploit, for want of means, poor rats, had hanged themselves. If we be conquered, let men conquer us, and not these bastard Bretons, whom our fathers have in their own land beaten, bobbed and thumped, and in record left them the heirs of shame. Shall these enjoy our lands, lie with our wives, ravish our daughters, drum afar off? Hark, I hear their drum. Fight, gentlemen of England, fight, bold yeomen, draw, archers, draw your arrows to the head, spur your proud horses hard, and ride in blood, amaze the welkin with your broken staves. My lord, the enemy is past the marsh. After the battle let George Stanley die. 1,000 hearts are great within my bosom. Advance our standards, set upon our foes, our ancient word of courage, fair St. George, inspire us with the spleen of fiery dragons. Upon them, victory sits on our helms. Exeunt. Scene Roman for another part of the field. Rescue, my lord of Norfolk, rescue, rescue. The king enacts more wonders than a man, daring and opposite to every danger. His horse is slain, and all on foot he fights, seeking for Richmond in the throat of death. Rescue, fair lord, or else the day is lost. Slave, I have set my life upon a cast, and I will stand the hazard of the die. I think there be 6 Richmonds in the field, 5 have I slain today instead of him. A hoss, my kingdom for a hoss. Exeunt. Scene V, another part of the field. God in your arms be praised, victorious friends, the day is ours, the bloody dog is dead. Courageous Richmond, well haste thou acquit thee. Lo, here, this long usurped royalty from the dead temples of this bloody wretch have I plucked off, to grace thy brows withal. Wear it, enjoy it, and make much of it. Great God of heaven, say amen to all. But tell me, is young George Stanley living? He is, my lord, and safe in Leicester town, whither, if it please you, we may now withdraw us. John Duke of Norfolk, Walter Lord Furres, Sir Robert Brakenbury, and Sir William Brandon. Inter their bodies as becomes their births. Proclaim a pardon to the soldiers fled that in submission will return to us. And then, as we have ta'en the sacrament, we will unite the white rose and the red, smile heaven upon this fair conjunction, that long have frowned upon their enmity. What traitor hears me, and says not Amen? England hath long been mad, and scarred herself. The brother blindly shed the brother's blood, the father rashly slaughtered his own son, the son, compelled, being butcher to the sire. All this divided York and Lancaster, divided in their dire division. Oh now, let Richmond and Elizabeth, the true succeeders of each royal house, by God's fair ordinance conjoin together. And let their heirs, God, if thy will be so, enrich the time to come with smooth-faced peace, with smiling plenty and fair prosperous days. Abate the edge of traitors, gracious Lord, that would reduce these bloody days again, and make poor England weep in streams of blood. Let them not live to taste this land's increase that would with treason wound this fair land's peace. Now civil wounds are stopped, peace lives again, that she may long live here. God say Amen. Exeunt. Colophon Richard Roman III was published in 1592 by William Shakespeare. This ebook was produced for Standard eBooks by Emma Sweeney and is based on a transcription produced in 1993 by Jeremy Hilton for the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. The cover page is adapted from Richard, Duke of Gloucester, and the Lady Anne, a painting completed in 1896 by Edwin Austin Abbey. The cover and title pages feature the League Spartan and Sots Mill Gaudy typefaces created in 2014 and 2009 by the League of Movable Type. This edition was released on July 8, 2025, 6:53 p.m., and is based on revision 01A942A. The first edition of this ebook was released on July 15, 2021, 6:58 p.m. You can check for updates to this ebook, view its revision history, or download it for different e-reading systems at standardbooksorg/ebooks/William Shakespeare/Richard Roman III. The volunteer-driven Standard eBooks project relies on readers like you to submit typos, corrections, and other improvements. Anyone can contribute at Standard Booksorg. Dramatis Personae King Edward IV Edward, Prince of Wales, afterwards King Edward V, son to the King Richard. Duke of York, son to the King George, Duke of Clarence, brother to the King Richard. Duke of Gloucester, afterwards King Richard Roman III, brother to the King, a young son of Clarence Henry. Earl of Richmond, afterwards King Henry Roman VII, Cardinal Berchier, Archbishop of Canterbury Thomas Rotherham, Archbishop of York John Martin, Bishop of Ely, Duke of Buckingham, Duke of Norfolk, Earl of Surrey. His son Earl Rivers, brother to Elizabeth Marquis of Dorset and Lord Grey. Sons to Elizabeth Earl of Oxford, Lord Hastings, Lord Stanley, called also Earl of Derby, Lord Lovell, Sir Thomas Vaughan, Sir Richard Ratcliffe, Sir William Catesby, Sir James Tyrrell, Sir James Blount, Sir Walter Herbert, Sir Robert Brakenbury, Lieutenant of the Tower Christopher Urswick. Priest, another priest Tressel and Berkeley. Gentlemen attending on the Lady Anne, Lord Mayor of London. Sheriff of Wiltshire Elizabeth, Queen to King Edward Roman IV Margaret, widow of King Henry VI Duchess of York, mother to King Edward Roman IV Lady Anne, widow of Edward Prince of Wales, son to King Henry VI, afterwards married to Richard, a young daughter of Clarence. Margaret Plantagenet, ghosts of those murdered by Richard Roman III, lords and other attendants, a pursuivant, scrivener, citizens, murderers, messengers, soldiers, etc. Scene, England. Richard Roman III. Imprint. This ebook is the product of many hours of hard work by volunteers for standard ebooks, and builds on the hard work of other literature lovers made possible by the public domain. This particular ebook is based on a transcription from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and on digital scans from the Hathaway Trust Digital Library. The source text and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. They may still be copyrighted in other countries, so users located outside of the United States must check their local laws before using this ebook. The creators of and contributors to this ebook dedicate their contributions to the worldwide public domain via the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain Dedication. For full license information, see the uncopyright at the end of this ebook. Standard eBooks is a volunteer-driven project that produces ebook editions of public domain literature using modern typography, technology, and editorial standards, and distributes them free of cost. You can download this and other ebooks carefully produced for true book lovers at standardbooks.org.